Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Hotel Nerd. Thank you for letting us take a week off with everything that was going on. Everything is still going on. I'm still trying to figure out how to make a special episode of that. Some things that I need to work out on my end, mostly. But tonight, on our re-debut, I guess you can say, we have Alex. Excuse me if I pronounce your last name wrong. I'm going to try. Shashek?
Shashek.
Shashek. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Because I didn't want to say anything, but I had questions too.
No, I totally get it. It's my married name, and I know it's not the easiest for a lot of people. I personally have a very bad lisp, so it's something I've had to kind of learn to combat personally. So I know where you're coming from.
And as everybody could tell, John's not with us tonight. He has an emergency that he has to attend to. So thoughts and prayers out to John. So Louis the Frenchie is jumping in instead and holding down the fort at the hotel with me tonight.
Thank you for having me on the second time, man. It's really a pleasure to be on your show.
Oh, absolutely. And let's just jump right into the conversation that we were having right before we went on. You brought up about not agreeing with Alex about her take on the Joker. So I'll let you two start out, and then I'll jump in with my thoughts after I let you two hash it out.
Round one. All right.
And time now.
All right. You want to go, or do you want me to go?
Go ahead. We were kind of focusing on my side of the convo, right before this. So I'd love to hear more about you.
All right. Well, obviously, like what you said in the John Roca's morning show, and we were talking about before starting the show, you're right. There's a lot of Jokers on screen. It's something we've seen often, but like the last Joker, there's always a new spin. There's always something else you can do with it and still integrate Asylum, right? You do something very Arkham Asylum, but you have Joker as the mastermind, the puppeteer. A bit like the Emperor Palpatine. You see him a bit in the second Batman, and then he's a main villain in the third one when you realize he's actually the one orchestrating the whole thing with other villains, right? So I completely agree, but by doing him not as the main villain but the overarching enemy of the whole trilogy, that could work, because that's not something we saw.
Yeah, I definitely can understand where you're coming from. I definitely agree. There's a million and one different directions you can take when it comes to the Joker. We've seen many adaptations of the Joker, not only on the big screen, but small screen and in games. So I always love seeing, regardless of the different interpretation of the Joker that we get, I am always excited to see that. But at the same time, we have not seen nearly enough Batman villains on the big screen at all that have yet to really be seen at all. We did get Selena Kyle with Catwoman, and we're getting another one here pretty soon with Zoe Kravitz. But I really want a lot more emphasis on the Penguin, the Riddler, Anarchy, Deadshot, Deathstroke, Crime Doctor, Killer Croc. I mean, Ra's al Ghul, Talia al Ghul, Man Bat. Dude, let's get weird. I mean, Man Bat, Man. I mean, you can go, what was that? Clayface. Oh my gosh, I'm dying for an awesome Clayface movie. But that being said, I mean, there are a million and one different versions of the Joker you can do that we've seen in comic books. But I mean, I feel like we've had so many interpretations. I just want some more, more adaptations of the villains. The Joker had his time, but why not give some of these other villains a try as well?
And I'm on mute. All right, and you can do this. I can interject fast. You can do the same with the idea I had with the overarching trilogy, doing the Star Wars route. Him pulling the strings, but having Mad Hatter in the second one with hell, like you said, let's go crazy, Calendar Man and Condiment Man, just for the heck of it.
Love Condiment Man. He's so funny. It's great.
But having everything attached, like having this build up, it's kind of him pulling the strings. You only see him maybe 2-3 minutes in the second one, but him being the main villain in the third one, you can accomplish what you want and still have a fresh take. So I agree. I just hope they won't solely focus on him, because then, we just had Joker, If it would have been 10, 20 years from now, or okay, but we just had Joker. So if you're going to bring it very different.
I mean,
well, no.
Oh, sorry.
Not only that, but let's get a proper Mr. Freeze. Not that.
Are you
BS
killing
that we
me?
got from Arnold.
It's nice to meet you. How is that not the most perfect?
No.
The most perfect Mr. Freeze ever. It's nice to meet you. So good with the glow in the dark mouthpiece.
Yeah, there's a difference between good things and guilty pleasures, Alex.
Mr. Snow. Oh my gosh, we've already had so many different interpretations of the Joker. Yes, by different actors, very different approaches. But we've had like 6. And that's not even including the games. And you're right, it could be another interpretation of the Joker, and maybe he'll get a lot of Oscar buzz. And on top of that, it could be a Palpatine inspired situation where he could be the puppeteer behind it. Again, that's just more Joker than I really want. We just had one who was just talking nothing about the Joker. He was the title character and it won a whole bunch of Oscars. That one's still so fresh for me. It was just released last fall, like last September or something. And because it is still so fresh to me, especially coming off the awards circuit, I don't want any more of it. I really would love that one to really be our Joker for at least a few years before we get another adaptation. We need Killer Croc. Give me Killer Croc and Clayface.
Oh yeah, please erase Suicide Squad from a lot of things and give us
It's already being erased, so I think you're safe.
Yeah,
let's get a proper Deathstroke as well.
Yeah.
Let's have Batman versus Deathstroke. I'm game for that. It doesn't have to be some kind of supernatural villain or anything, because to my knowledge, I'm not well versed in DC all that much. I'll be honest, I'm more of a Marvel person.
Right.
But at the same token, my understanding of Batman villains they're not supernatural-ish. They are down-to-earth, grounded, mafia-type villains. Black Mask, Joker.
And Batman?
Yeah.
That's true to a certain
Alex,
extent.
I lost your audio.
I
hear her.
That might be on my end.
Can you hear me clearly or no?
I can hear you perfectly, Alex.
Before.
Yeah.
The thing is with DCEU and Batman villains in general, sure, there is that grounded aspect to it. There are villains and heroes that have that supernatural aspect, such as Ra's al Ghul and Talia al Ghul. There's literally a pool that makes people immortal. There's entire superheroes where they're half animals. And
you said it yourself.
Man-Bat. Man-Bat. And so there is.
I've never heard of Man-Bat.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
He's a man that literally transformed himself into a bat-like figure. He's literally has wings. He looks like a giant bat, the size of a table, only with legs.
And
it's weird.
You do it in the style of a tragic monster movie from the 1930s. It's not his fault. You feel bad for the man, but he can't control himself and he becomes a beast, right? So if you really touch the sensibilities of a good monster movie that we haven't had in a long time, they might have something on our hands with Man-Bat.
You're making me more excited for a Man-Bat than the Joker. Where's your argument, my dude? I thought you were arguing in favor of the Joker here.
I really am, but honestly, I wouldn't be pissed if they don't do Joker, because I completely agree. I'm only on board if they do something completely different in an angle that doesn't take too much screen time. That's the only way I'm going forward with Joker, because if they're doing just another focused Joker centric movie, what's the point? I mean, you said Batman has the best villain catalog. Personally, the whole comic book universe. Maybe
It's definitely
side to
arguable.
Spider-Man, you know.
I was gonna say Spider-Man. I think would want to have a talk with you.
Oh,
Those are definitely either one. They both have
But-
really great villains. I feel like the more when it comes to the history of Spider-Man and his villains versus Batman, his villains and Batman. One of the big things about Batman and his villains is that a lot more villains are much more iconic in popular culture versus in Spider-Man. Like, how many kids have high school kids and college kids have pictures of Doc Ock on their wall? Not many. Sure, there are some, but a lot of them have mostly the Joker or something along those lines. So they both have really great history with villains and everything, but you can't argue that Batman villains are definitely much more iconic by themselves, not just in relation to the hero.
all right, and I agree, but I got 3 DC tattoos on my on me, so I'm kind of
I see. I hear.
I'm a DC guy, but Spider-Man villains really marked a name on their own. But something about Batman villains, there's, in my opinion, layers to them that some Spider-Man villains won't have. There's even like very tragic ones, and then there's psychotic ones like Joker and All About Control, like Ra's al Ghul, and what's his name, the doctor with the glasses.
Oh shoot.
I know it.
Hugo Strange.
Oh man.
Thank you.
Hugo Strange.
Yes.
Like there's
Well,
it's
that'd be
all
a point in Schmodown I want to get.
he's not in the movie yet, so you wouldn't get it actually.
Feel free to join me in my IG focused training sessions. I would love to have you.
But there's something so more human, based on human reality, like the psyche of the humans that certain Spider-Man villains don't have, in my opinion.
I would disagree with you. I think it's all about the point of view of the director. You can go into a huge psychoanalysis between a lot of like a really dark adaptation of Spider-Man. I know we're never going to get a really dark adaptation of Spider-Man. It's just never going to happen, with
Disney will never let it happen.
Yeah, MCU Marvel situation. It's just not going to happen with especially today's Peter Parker. But at the same time, you can really do more like an anti-hero situation with a lot of their villains. Doc Ock in particular, his whole history in particular, he's wonderful. He's such a great villain, not to mention the way his interpretation of, even in the Spider-Man game on PS4 is definitely one of my favorite adaptations of him, period. Have you guys ever played that game?
No.
It's so good. Really.
I started to, and then I jumped into Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Okay.
So, and I'm a big Final Fantasy VII nut, so I've been playing the hell out of it.
And I play one game every year. It's NHL. Like I've been since NHL 12. It's the only game I played for the last 8 years. So
Well, you're also
are missing
so you
out.
can kind of excuse that.
It's really good. That one.
I'm Canadian.
That one in Zero Dawn Horizon is so beautiful. If you're just a movie fan, and if you really genuinely love the Spider-Man films, the story behind the games are so amazing. The visuals are spectacular. You'll love it. It genuinely feels like a movie. It doesn't feel like a game. So I couldn't recommend it more.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on, should he do other versions of Spider-Man in real life, like Ultimate Spider-Man or Spider-Man 29 or etc. Should we see not just an anime version but live action?
We need a Miles Morales.
But the thing is, I think we are going to get that very soon. I think it's a matter of time. I think we're going to get a Miles Morales character on screen, in the big screen, within less than 5 years, especially with how popular he's become in such a short amount of time, especially now more than ever.
Well, yeah.
Spider-Verse. Yeah.
And Spider-Verse was really the kick in the ass that he needed. Then what else?
The game.
Yeah, he's getting the game.
Mm-hmm.
Which, is it actually a game or is it an expansion? Because I've heard both.
Okay, it technically is an expansion. Yes.
Okay.
It is technically that, but I mean, it is a game expansion.
And they teased them already in the MCU itself because the one guy, I can't remember his name for the life of me. Again, Schmodown question. I know it will be for Inner Geekdom, but the guy that gets his hand webbed to the trunk of the car and
Donald Glover.
Thank you. That's his Miles' uncle.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, that I didn't know.
Yeah,
that's Miles' uncle.
He mentions his last name is Morales, and he's mentioned in the credits as being his uncle. So,
and this is why I'm not a competitor on any leagues, and I comment.
I'm a manager, not a comment. I'm not a competitor. I wish.
Yeah, speaking of manager, I've seen that people put you on the list for the 9th manager slot.
I know that's not going to happen. Like any Schmodown fan, we can dream, but it's not going to happen. I recognize that. Who knows one day? I mean,
hey,
in my dreams. But
that's what probably Janine said to herself, or Chance, or Smets at first. But you're just a fan, and then you one day become part of Schmodown. So don't sell yourself short. You have your foot in Schmodown. You never know what can happen.
It's true. It also helps if you live in LA, though.
Yeah.
Which I do not. I'm actively trying to move away.
Even with live streams, because this might be changing the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think, thing is, I'm a manager in the fan leagues personally. And so I do talk with my competitors. We have like a group chat. We chat like every single day as far as like what new movies and stuff we're, trying to learn and update ourselves on and kind of actively work on category wise. But some people work better in that studio environment. Obviously, I mean, like, and actually physically being there in the studio, having that audience, with the lights and everything, that's a very different experience, working under that pressure versus, working at home in front of a computer. Obviously. I'm really curious to see how that's, going to play out with some of the competitors, especially in IG, that's rough.
It's like me and Kaiser already talked about one day. It's one of those leagues that you miss a question, especially in the like top tier competitors, you're done. Especially if the good steal game in round 2, you can't permit yourself to lose a point. And even more in Star Wars, it's not even a point. You miss a last name, and you're done. And God knows Star Wars is the most complicated in last names and first names. So it's there's a lot of levels of you have to be on your game to work.
A friend of mine, he actually competed in a match recently, and he's really great talented. He knows his stuff. I mean, it's very easy for anyone to have brain farts. I mean, who doesn't? He was asked a question of who played the Rhino villain in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And he put down Paul Giamatti, as in Paul Giamatti with an N-I at the end. Where the answer is Giamatti, T-I. And so, like, it's almost like an Alba situation. Like I see, like, I hear it, and I'm like, they sound identical, but at the same time, it's just like, oh,
that one letter
struggle. He clearly had it, but technically, spelling wise, they have to line up, and that can be really rough for sure. A lot of those little things you have to be on top of.
Thank God it wasn't that strict when JTE was playing, because he would have not won any matches.
Yeah. Like, oh, no pressure.
Yeah, I'm listening to some of the old stuff right now. I just got into the debut match with the Patriots.
Oh boy!
Don't spoil anything, Alex.
That's where I'm at, and
it's the debut.
I love how they always ripped on JTE about how he mispronunciated things, or he misspelled things.
Yeah. Well, JT was one of those competitors, especially how young the league was I'm actually very grateful that Schmodown was lucky enough to have him, because obviously he's a really great competitor, but also at the same time, him doing a lot of the things that he did is the reason why we have the rules we have today. JTEs, the mispronunciations, tomato situation, the rules are there because they weren't there before, and they weren't technically written down until JTE pretty much forced them to.
Yeah.
And so, honestly, but also it was incredibly smart on his part to use that to his strategy, to use the choice advantage.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'm going to get to it because again, rookie fan, I'll fully outright admit it.
It's not spoiling anything.
Yeah. So when does the JTE rule? When does that start? Like, am I close?
No, I don't think so. You're not for a little bit, to be honest. From what I remember, it has been a while since I remember, but I mean, it took like maybe like half a season or something until they realized he was actively not just, oh, I can't hear it. He was actually using it to his strategic advantage. So I think it took a little bit before they realized, hey, probably shouldn't do that.
and other player catch on, and you start doing what he was doing, right? So it's starting to get out of hand because he, like you said, he exploited a gray zone that he was really smart to say, hey, it's a gray zone, nothing written. I'm gonna go until they say something, and he's a very we go thumbs up on him for his winning and what he's accomplished, but I find he's not talked about enough for his strategy. They give him a lot of hard time for the way he says things and everything, but he's a very smart dude, and it shows the way he plays.
Yeah, I totally agree. He's pretty fantastic. I love JT as a competitor, and you'll see why very soon, very quickly. So.
Yeah, so far my favorite moment is the child JTE with Finstock. I mean, and I right now, Finstock, as of right now, I do not like Finstock. Finstock back then, I did.
Yes. Do you like Roka yet?
I really haven't heard much out of Roka. You got to remember, too, I'm also listening to it on Spotify, so I'm not actually watching them. I'm listening to them when I'm at work. So as I'm doing things, I have that on, but I have the volume down low so that way I can hear my walkie in case people call for me. But I'm also studying at the same time.
In a sense, if you have no choice, you have no choice. But you're missing out. Like, there's a couple key moments. I'm not gonna say much if you don't know them, but like blindfold and masks and everything. There's things that you have to see to kind of appreciate what JTE's Roka is doing at the moment. If you listen to audio, you might understand what's going on, but there's something more impactful actually seeing Roka because he's a beast on his own.
Yeah, he's one of those competitors, and I'm not saying that as someone that does, mornings with the Outlaw Roka, with him a few times a week. It's nothing along those lines. You can't deny the impact he's had from day one being involved in Schmodown. He was like one of the first competitors that understood what they were trying to do. And Christian was like, do this and be the heel that we need right now. Because before him, they didn't really have anyone. Sure, they had Wildberries, but they're a fun group of guys, and they didn't really come off as like a traditional heel. Even today, a lot of people don't consider them heels, even though Christian calls them heels. But Roka, for the longest time, yeah, that's true. But in particular, for the longest time, he was considered like one of the best heels of all time until Guy came along, of course. But visually speaking, he's definitely one of those competitors. I feel like he has a bigger and better impact when you actually see him versus on audio. So if you get the chance to, just because, it's a force with the hat, the gloves, he plays blindfolded sometimes. I mean, it's like a whole thing. So.
Larry also sent one in here. I'm trying to dig for it right now. because we're talking about Schmodown questions and whatnot, and he threw this one in here. Say pop quiz was the actual release date for Tenet.
Soon.
That's July 31st.
Until they push it again.
Yeah, this is like the third time they pushed it. So I think it was like on what, July 18th? I want to say.
Yeah, I believe so.
It was like, I think it was like.
I know Wonder Woman just got pushed again. I think it was October.
Yeah, it was originally it should have already come out. Then it was moved to August, and now October. Yeah.
And then my response was, "Let's talk New Mutants."
No. Oh my gosh! Just put it on Hulu. Come on, man. Disney, you're not needing the money right now. I mean, come on. I'm already in the process of signing up for my 10th year on Disney Plus. I mean,
I'm curious, Alex and Hotel. We're talking about Wonder Woman, the new Wonder Woman. Are you looking forward to it, or what's your thoughts? What's your feelings on the trailers?
There are two movies that I'm bummed that aren't coming out right now. One is Wonder Woman.
Okay.
The other one is Ghostbusters.
Oh.
Wow. So I was really hyped up for Ghostbusters because Ghostbusters 2016 was a complete shit fest.
I liked it.
I thought it was fine.
And that's not anything. I'm not one of them people who are like, oh, that was horrible because it was an all-woman cast, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Mine was, that was just a horrible cast in general. And it made Thor look like an imbecile.
I loved him.
I loved it too. I loved
him. Chris Hemsworth was life. I was like, give me Hemsworth vibes right now. I thought he was fantastic. Not to mention, he's actually mentioned in interviews that's one of the funnest movies that he's been involved with till this day. Just because he was allowed to, it was like one of the only movies that he was allowed to improvise on. Even today, he's not really asked to improvise all that much. And
I got a feeling he improvised a lot on Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, with Taika Waititi.
That's a little bit different. Because I know they said just like any director, they improvised a little bit, but there's like so much of Ghostbusters in particular. They were actively improvising. They weren't just like trying to improvise just one or two lines. They were actively improvising entire scenes. Versus Taika Waititi, it was a lot of the improv came from these smaller moments. If that makes sense. Yeah.
And Alex, what about for you for Wonder Woman?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That's probably gonna be like the movie I would be comfortable going back to theaters to see. Like, I don't want to go back to theaters to see Tenet. I don't care about Tenet, but that's fine. I probably am not going to be comfortable going to a theater, at least in my neck of the woods, until like more towards the fall. So.
Okay. Oddly enough, I was impressed with the trailers. There's something lacking. I don't know.
I can see that.
There's something that just did. I was rooting for it to get me excited. I just didn't get it at all.
Well, also consider we only have one trailer a piece for each one.
Yeah.
So, and they're not really trailers per se; they're teasers.
Yeah. So that's not the final trailer. So keep that in mind. The trailer is not meant to get you to buy your ticket. The teaser's meant to get you interested. Generally speaking, and
I'm calling it right now. The ride the lightning scene that we've seen in the teaser for Wonder Woman is going to be the No Man Land scene from the first one.
Yeah,
I'm calling it right now.
Cannot wait. Oh, it's gonna be so good. So good.
Who's the villain? I haven't been keeping track. Do we know who the villain is?
Yeah, isn't it?
It's gonna be. I know Tigress, played by Kristen Wiig.
That's who it is.
Tigress, and I can't forget his name. He's almost the character was written supposedly, not being political here. He's maybe loosely inspired by Trump when the character was written. When the comics were written in the late 70s, 80s. But that was, like I mentioned, that was like a long time ago. But I think, and like visually, he has like the big blonde hair.
Yeah,
I can't remember his character name, but.
Maxwell Lord is the villain for Wonder Woman 84, and he is played by our favorite Mandalorian, Pedro Pascal.
Yes.
Huh, interesting. If
Mhm.
Petro Pascal doing a Trump-inspired character, that's okay. All right, just that, you see, that piques my interest. The trailer didn't, but that piques my interest.
Yeah, it doesn't come off. I'm sure I know some people don't see the Trump inspired aspect to his characters, but if you look at the comics are directly inspired by him at the time when they were written. So like 80s and 90s Trump, not now, essentially. So keep that in mind.
Interesting. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's amazing how much comics are influenced by real life events, honestly, or real life caricatures. I mean, if I'm even using that word properly, I don't even know because my education here in Pennsylvania. But yeah, it's always fascinated me how much comics are influenced by the real world, by just individuals or events.
Mm-hmm.
And people always give me crap for like, well, why are you reading comics? It doesn't pertain to anything worthwhile. It's like,
yeah,
some of these events I've never heard about, like the Tulsa Race Massacre from Watchmen.
Yeah,
And then I find out that it's actually was a thing. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Well, the comics are just like art in general is inherently political. Every form of art is a form of politics, essentially, if you want to get down and dirty with it. But comics in particular are incredibly political. Some much more directly than others. But I mean, like X-Men is about. I mean, when X-Men came out in like the 70s, it was a direct result of the LGBT community as well as racist discrimination at the times between the riots and and everything. So that having that conversation. Have you ever tried not being a mutant? Have you ever tried? Yeah. Those entire conversations, it's supposed to be reflections of, the coming out to your families and friends. But, entire conversations of, the feeling of being required to, these people are dangerous because of this. We can't allow them into our schools. They're going to badly influence other people or whatever the situation is. So it's
true.
Yeah. But also the creators are also very vocal about it as well. At no point are they hiding what they're representing, which I appreciate.
It's so true. I studied in sexology, and I was going to specialize before my girlfriend got pregnant, and we're waiting it's 2 weeks now. Baby's coming in 2 weeks. Thank you. I was going to specialize in LGBTQ studies, and one of my plans was to work on X-Men, how they relate to the LGBTQ community and how they affected youth in that time. So yeah. Comics is art. Art reflects life in any form. Art reflects life. So you got books, you got cinema, you got comic books, you got music. Mm-hmm. It's all what's happening around us.
Yeah. I do know comic books for a long time. Obviously they were associated with like children's literature, and just for and to some people think it's only for boys or whatever it may be, which is a really unfortunate assumption. But honestly, it just comes down to, it's not anymore. They've always had really great, intense themes, conversations, but they were masked with this idea. If it's in this kind of fictional fantasy sci-fi world, in no way, shape, or form could it be real. It could be like for mature life situations,
Mm-hmm.
And so that was like kind of a negative association. But if you were reading it, you knew what was going down.
Like I always remember, I was too young, probably didn't even exist yet, but there is an issue of the Arrow and his partner, I forgot his name, that he was a junkie, right? And the Arrow like found him overdosing on drugs. This is in the 80s, this is comic books are targeted for children, like you said, especially in the 60s, 70s. They're going more mature in their subjects, but they touch some stuff that it's hard to swallow for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the real great things about art in general is that, especially in terms of literature and, everything, is that, because it is in these worlds, these fictional worlds, it's easier to sometimes swallow a lot of these darker themes. When you're tackling themes of like terrorism or race relations or, drug use in, our society, a lot of these really dark, really heavy, themes, sometimes being able to tackle that in this fictional world makes it easier to digest and explain to people. So because if you're applying it directly to your own world, it feels so much more terrifying. But if you're talking about it in this hypothetical situation, now it's just easier to not only to stimulate that kind of conversation, but it's also easier to be objective almost. Not always, but sometimes.
Well, there's always exceptions to the rules, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So, have either one of you watched Artemis Fowl yet?
No.
Yeah.
Nope. I don't. Super good.
I don't even know what it is. Can you explain me what that is, please?
I really honestly don't know. The trailers look really good.
Yeah.
But the reviews, oh my god, the reviews.
And that hurts my soul. I'm not going to lie. It really, really does. I used to read those books when I was in school, when I was like in grade school, early middle school. And I remember loving the books. It's like it's a whole series. It's really fantastic. And it's really cool with its world building and everything. And then this movie comes out. And apparently they completely changed it, the characters and everything, because they wanted to Disney-fy it a lot more. The books itself, they have a darker theme. The main character, the 12-year-old genius child, he's like a villain. He's like a mastermind villain in training, essentially. So,
oh wow.
Yeah. So doesn't that sound awesome? I mean, he's like, he steals like really rare artifacts. He steals from museums. He's like anti-Indiana Jones as a 12-year-old. With like a mastermind thief dad. It's nice. Does that not sound awesome? I mean, and he like trains his kid to be like this really badass villain, and he ends up being like this kind of pseudo superhero that's a bad superhero. But,
and that's from the books you're saying, right? That plot line is not what's in the movies, but that's what you read in the books.
Yes, it's in the books. It's like it's really fun, yeah. And again, it's like it's the book the book series is something you read when you're like grade school, like 4th through 6th grade kind of reading level situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. It's not young adult.
Yeah, I mean, to me that's young adult. I mean, like to me that's something you can read when you're in middle school. So, I mean,
Larry says, "Thanks for subscribing to Disney Plus. We will show you how to be a villain."
Yo, Disney has some great villains though. I mean, you can do a top 10, Disney villains thing. It would be baller. So
that would actually be something that would be pretty cool to see on SEN Live, being that Christian's always looking for new material to talk about right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, what would be your top?
SEN Live. I know he was getting frustrated on Friday, and he said about possibly going on a hiatus, which I don't know if he's officially confirmed that they're doing that, or if that was just strictly out of frustration.
I wouldn't blame him, to be honest. I know they're under a ridiculous amount of stress doing it, but also it's very difficult to do it production-wise without their usual support system, because they've been having so many technical difficulties, especially in the past few weeks, where they're just like, you know what, it's like, let's screw it, let's end early. So, not to mention having a lot of those conversations for like so many hours every weekday with your best friend. Still, that's cool. But I mean, every weekday on camera doing it, it's a lot of pressure.
Well, that, and I'm sure he wants to do other things behind the scenes. I'm sure he wants to work with Skybound to try to keep things moving on that end, because from the way he was talking, they were like days away from having the studio.
That hurts my heart, man.
I know.
That hurts my
heart.
Then
the pandemic happened. It's like,
yeah.
Just to hear how he never really came out and said it, but just the idea of being days away, and it's like this is soul crushing.
Yeah,
even as a fan, that's just soul crushing.
Smets, because I host Schmobates, it's like a Schmoden themed debate show. Kevin Smets, he won. His record is currently with 1 win, no losses. So he has only played in 1 match, but he was supposed to be in the Tournament of Champions, like the first like Schmobates tournament, and he was supposed to play. But we were looking at the schedule, and we are like, okay, realistically, when could you play in your match against this person? All that good stuff. But for like the month and a half, he's like, if we're at this time, got to be honest, I don't know if I could do it, just because if Christian says we will be probably in the studio by this time, so I got to be actively training during this like whole month and a half, and so I won't have time to do it. And I was like, really? Here, you might be in studio. What? Huh? But now I'm just like, oh. And then I got like a random message being like, I wish I could have been in your Schmobate. And I'm like, I wish you could have too, but what do you know?
What also crushes my heart is they were about to have, I believe it was an ESPN article, there's a wave that's going to be starting, and then right after studio, ESPN, but nothing happened because of COVID. So they were on the precipice, and they just signed with Skybound. And I don't know Harloff myself, but understanding how he works, he seems like he's got a million plans, and everything was starting to click right at the last minute. And then,
well, I'm sure we all can relate. I mean, as far as I know, I'm the newest one. I'm the baby YouTuber here, but
so fresh, so new.
We've only been going and doing this since January, and I know how frustrating it was between January and when Brett and Kate, I finally was able to get them on, and now since Brett and Kate came on, it's like the floodgates opened, and things are getting a little bit easier. Still stressful, don't get me wrong. Still stressful. I'm still trying to figure things out. Like tonight, I'm actually having issues with Streamlabs. I am having issues with PayPal. I can't get to the donations if anybody's sending them in, which is frustrating the hell out of me, not going to lie. So I can kind of understand the pain to a point the Christian is feeling. His is magnified 110-fold to me. I'm a small fish in a very, very big ocean. He's basically a great white shark compared to me. I'm a minnow. So if I feel it at my level, I can only imagine what his level is, because he's got the Schmo down, he's got SEN Live,
he's got normal life, he's got kids.
So,
well, I think it's no surprise that Wi-Fi and access to a lot of these websites and everything have really been shoddy, across the board around the world. I mean, especially here in the US, for everyone. So it's been really iffy, just because people are on the internet more than ever before. People are streaming more than ever before, or we're all actively on so many devices simultaneously, and we're doing it for long periods of time more than ever before, because a lot of us aren't working, so we're watching TV and doing something. We're on our phone for a lot longer than before, things like that. We're streaming for longer periods of time. I mean, if you look at over with Larry and Gucci and Kaiser and everyone, they were streaming for 7 hours the other night. That's nuts. So, I mean, it's intense.
Also, then Roka's got 5,000 shows on his channel that he's going at one time.
Yeah.
Roka's a busy, but he seems like to have one speed, just forward and fast,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed that even the couple of matches that I've heard on Spotify, it's like there's either he's at 0 or a 100 at all times, especially after the Bestman comment. I'm sorry, too soon. I mean, I know it's a couple years old, but I mean, for me, it's fresh. So,
but you'll see that lit a fire under his butt. This to this day, apparently he still gets teased, but he became a whole different player, I find, because of the whole Bisman situation. and for the better. But that really lit a fire under him.
I mean, to be honest, in the moment, I probably would have brain farted on that too. I said best spin out loud when he was struggling for that third one. And for me, I got it like that. Then again, I also wasn't at the table.
Yeah.
So
it's a very different situation. I hear nonstop. Being in the fan leagues, there's some fan leaguers, based on my personal experience, that there's some fan leaguers that are actively training and working to ideally be in Schmodown one day. Like that's their goal. Like, that's why they're in the fan leagues. But there's other people that are doing it just because they like to have fun and doing it. And they're just like very casual fans. But sometimes they're not even fans of Schmodown at all. They just like being part of the movie trivia, community, and competing on that level. But I do hear that because it is in studio, I hear even like before this past season, I know especially this past season, I would hear a lot of people being like, oh, the Schmodown is so easy by comparison. And I'm like, dude, you're not there. You're not under the lights. You don't have the pressure of like 40 people watching you at that moment in person. And you don't see that timer going down in front of you. Usually you don't see that score or anything like that. It's a very different situation versus being in your comfort zone at home where everything is like very comfortable for you. It's very, very different. But now we're kind of going back to that being at home, obviously, right now. So
yeah. Now I do have a question because it was brought up by Jay on SEN After Live a couple weeks ago. And in a way, I can agree with him on this. Do you think he might not have used this terminology exactly, but in my brain, I kind of went there, like having like a quote unquote shot clock instead of having Christian or anybody count down verbally, just have like a clock that just counts down. I mean, obviously, you can't probably do it right now with doing
when you say shot clock, what are you referring to?
Like, you know how basketball has a shot clock and it counts down, and once it hits 0, then I mean, I'm not a basketball fan, but I'm assuming that you get penalized or whatever for it. But like when he's counting down 10, 9, 8, 7, and
they don't do that.
0, don't they count down? I thought they did.
No, once they count to 5, because it starts at like 15 or 17 seconds or something, and then they go down. Okay, and they're not going to count down like 17, 16, 15. They're not doing that. They're like, that's why they're chatting. It's like, well,
yeah,
this is my favorite Star Wars movie or whatever, and then they go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or
yeah, that's
2, 1,
when that countdown is, because I've noticed sometimes their countdowns are a little slower or a little faster than normal. But if you just had a clock and it just count down, the clock just stays true, just as a countdown. Do you think that maybe that might be useful down the line?
I have a question. Would that be for the competitors, or would that be integrated after YouTube for the viewers?
I mean, you could have a countdown clock there in front. I mean, I'm sure somewhere. Could you put it on Christian's desk there at live events or something where they could see it, where it's counting down?
I find it would be a detriment.
Also, you could integrate it on YouTube somehow. I mean, I'm sure it'd be a little bit more difficult on the tech side. I mean, just an idea.
I like it, but at the same time, if it's for the competitors, it's like almost an added pressure. I know it would put pressure on me. I would have to look at a clock and kind of lose my train of thought, So if it's in front of the competitors, I actually see it probably more as something that would F up more competitors and actually help them.
All right.
I do think you're right. I feel like there needs to be consistency with the times, because sometimes they eyeball it essentially, and they're like, okay, it's been about 15, maybe 20 seconds or something. We got carried away chatting, so we should probably 3, 2, 1 kind of situation. But at the same time, I personally don't feel like I need to see that on screen. I feel like that's something that, in order to avoid like going too fast or too slow, like the hosts the commentators, that they can definitely have something right there. But I don't think that competitors need to see it, because I do feel like you are totally right that it definitely adds a lot of added pressure to it. And I don't know about you, but I know if I look at a countdown number being like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, I know I'm going to be like, oh shit, wait, I can't even think. What's the question? What? Huh?
Yeah.
Like that would be my mindset.
And that's exactly me. And Weston, you're right, but there's a difference between, you know, having it called out and having a visual pair to stress you out. Like me, I'm visual.
And
seeing that visual
5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is different from like 20, 19, 18.
Yeah.
That's totally different.
Yeah.
But
it was just an idea I figured I'd throw out there. I mean, just to compliment on what Jay was trying to get across. I mean, Jay, if you're watching, I don't know if you are. I know you said you had something going on yourself. But if you watch the replay, if I'm stepping out of line, by all means, send me a message and I'll clear it up the next video. But that was the way I was understanding what you were trying to get across.
Well, it's an interesting conversation to have, because Schmoedown is gonna evolve. Look how like different from season 2 or even 1 to now. You got so much more strategy. You got like factions now. You got.
Well, I'm up to the Patriots debut, and from the first Schmoedown, which was really just kind of seemed like it was slapped together at the last minute. I mean, you tell from the Patriots debut from that first episode. I mean, I see the evolution right there, and then I'm sure I'm going to see it even further as I'm going.
Yeah, it's changed tremendously, and it will continue to change for sure. You know, obviously, I am praying everything going on right now doesn't change the fact that they're going to continue moving forward with Skybound. Because I know a lot of companies are making some huge changes as a result, you know. But I'm hoping their contract with them is continuing, obviously, and I expect that it will. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if they do more changes, because they're trying to make it much more sports focused. You know, I mean, it's ideally they would love to be on ESPN. You know, we got, you know, editors, timers, you know, much more WWE aspect, obviously, with characters and plots and everything, the draft. But I think that we get all the added pressure we need in those few moments, like from the music that's added. God bless Eric and everything he does. Everything he's made. He's like the real MVP behind Schmoedown. Everything. When Nerd Chronic, you know, I mean, he's the one that made my husband a Schmoedown fan because of his promos. Lucas was actually walking past me watching. I think it was like the Kalinowski Smets match. He was like walking by, like eating his dinner while I was like watching the promo, and he was like, "Wait, what you watching?" And I was like, "A promo for a Schmoedown match." And he's like, before that, he's like seen matches, but he didn't really care about them. And he's like, "This is a Schmoedown match? What? Huh? And he was like, and he came over and he's like, "Yeah, I'll watch it. I'll watch this episode with you." And after that, he's been hooked. So, and after that, and he's like, "Yeah, I guess I can go too." And he's like, and at that time, I bought like tickets to a live event. I think it was a New York live event. And he's like, "Hey, is that a Schmoedown match going to be in New York?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, I should definitely go with you to this live event." And now he's a massive fan. He is like, he's seen more Schmoedown than I have. So, and he's more involved in the community than I have, I feel like sometimes.
And my girlfriend, has been 2 years now. We're together. It's a slow burn. At first, she's like, "Yeah, this is not for me." And then Janine appeared, and she's like, "I like her." And every Janine match, she's always watched. I'm like, "You watch Schmoedown?" She's like, "Yeah, it's Janine." She's like, "Okay, I'm here." You know.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes that game, that one competitor, that personality that really makes it click for you.
Exactly. So. What was yours for both of you?
Roka.
For
me. Mm-hmm.
Mine was when Christian was talking about the draft. That's what intrigued me. And it's like, okay, so I'll pay attention. I'll see what's going on.
Were you a fan of Schmo's No and everything without Schmodown then?
I caught bits and pieces of it. I never actually watched the old school stuff because I didn't know about it. First off, I didn't know about it. I'd never heard about it. John's actually the one that turned me on to Collider. And they were talking about Schmodown on Collider, and it's like, oh, okay. So, I heard bits and pieces. And then I didn't realize Schnepp was on the old school stuff.
Heroes.
I would have watched some of that, and because I've listened to a couple of Schnepp matches, and I wish to God I would have been paying attention then. But the drafts kind of like finally was the kick the door open moment for me, and I ran with it. I figured, you know what? If I'm going to start, because I'm one of them people that if I'm going to pay attention to something, I want to start from the very beginning.
That's fair.
And understand everything. So, like, for Supernatural, they were in, like, season 12 when I decided to finally break down and watch it. It's like, okay, Netflix has everything up to this current point. So, to hell with it. I'm watching all of it.
That's commitment because we're not talking about 4 or 5 seasons here. We're talking about 12 seasons.
That's a lot. Yeah. That's also very impressive. I know Lucas, he did something very, very similar. He binge watched every season of Schmodown in a matter of 3 months, I want to say.
Damn.
Yeah, see,
that's over 300. That's almost 300 or 400 episodes, I want to say. Including now, and he did it right after the New York event last fall, and he wanted to do it to prep for another live event later in the year in November. It wasn't the award show; it wasn't the draft. It was Spectacular, so he wanted to binge watch everything before Spectacular in November. And he did it. It was like a whole thing. He would update everyone on Sen. Hey, I'm on this season, this episode. And Christian would be like, hey, Lucas, which episode do you want? Tell me what you think. It would be really funny. And he's like, well, this is my update. This is where I am. So
yeah, that's basically what I've been doing to Christian. Like, there was a question that I listened to last night. It was about which Avenger in Age of Ultron was killed off in the movie, and obviously the answer is Quicksilver. But I sent out a tweet just asking, basically saying, hey, I would have challenged this because technically Quicksilver was never an Avenger. He was never inducted into the ranks, where Scarlet Witch was technically inducted into the ranks because of what
she wasn't
said to her. But Quicksilver never really was inducted in.
He's just an honorary member.
I think he is. I mean, just as much as Scarlet. I mean, it is arguable, sure, but the technicality, the in a categorical sense, it is very arguable for sure. But the meaning behind the question remains. The answer stays the same regardless of the meaning of the question. The answer is Quicksilver, who dies of the main cast, dies in Age of Ultron. That's the question, and which Avenger? So I mean, like,
that would have been where I would have done a challenge and been like, and I would have argued that. I mean, sure, I probably would have lost, but that would have been a moment in my mind. Is like, yeah, that's getting challenged because technically he's not an Avenger. He's just there.
Yeah. It's very arguable. I mean, I feel like that's one of the biggest things you can, the biggest skills you can have as a competitor, as a potential competitor. It's the ability to recognize challenges like that, and you have to be able to recognize what is considered a legit challenge versus a not legit challenge, and what is you're able to risk. Because if something pops up later, you're screwed. You know, even if it is a completely wrong thing, you can't challenge it. So
I'm curious, Alex, who do you, in your opinion, is the greatest strategist when it comes to challenge so far we've seen?
I feel like it would have to be a tie, honestly, between Oyama and Bateman. I would have to say Merle is pretty high up there as well. Merle, he when he started out in Schmodown in particular, he was such a force of nature, of knowledge when it came to movies. But he also was very vocally, he's a very casual movie fan, and he didn't study with like note cards and binders and trying to get down like taglines and all that good stuff, but now he is, because Shimoda is a very different game.
And
obviously
he's scarier now. If that's
significantly scarier, but I mean the range of competitors, I mean, if you put, for example, if you put current Andrew Guy in like just 2 seasons ago, he would have been hands down a champion. Like 3 seasons, like a hands down champion. Janine would have been a champion. It's just the way it is. But I mean, the competition between all the competitors, if you're going into Schmodown, you have to have a certain level of gameplay and strategy knowledge under your belt. You can't be a casual fan going into it and being like, yeah, I got some movie knowledge. I know who Amy Adams is and, Anne Hathaway and, Robert De Niro. I've seen a few De Niro movies. Like, what?
Good luck to you.
You can't be that competitor anymore. That's why Brett Sheridan, which I'm very surprised that he's able to play, honestly. But obviously for him, it's more personality than anything.
Yeah, he's one match in, and
he's undefeated.
Yeah. He's undefeated. If you say so, Alex. If you say so.
Oh no, I don't consider anyone undefeated unless they've. Even if you're like 2-0, I don't consider you I wouldn't call you an undefeated competitor unless you're 3-0, at least minimum, because at least at that time we can really get a better analysis of you as a competitor. But sometimes people get lucky, and I feel like Brett got lucky in his first match.
He got lucky, and we all know he's not going to go for a title shot. He's a bit of the Makuga. Even Makuga, I would love to see a Makuga versus a Sheridan
Makuga is so much better than him.
Yeah, it'd still be a guessing game. Like Makuga, he guesses more than half of the time, so you never know what can happen.
And if he gets horror, you're screwed.
If we get Makuga and Sheridan together, it's got to be Makuga versus the Flirted Flouse.
That's never gonna happen unless it's like. I say that out of love, just because I cannot imagine how difficult it would be to do editing wise.
I'm just saying that because Makuga hates the Flirted Flouse.
I know.
And I'll be honest, I'm on the same page. I don't like that character. I've never liked him.
No, I don't like the Flirted Flouse either. I still think it would be funny.
It's fine. It's fine. I feel like they have better characters, but I mean, you can't deny Flirted Flouse definitely has a following.
If Christian ever plays, if Christian ever plays again, he's got to play as Professor Crow.
I'm not a fan of Professor Crow either, to be honest. But that's just me. I mean, that's totally fine. That's just me. I get it. I prefer, if anything, what's his name from Anaconda? Significantly better. John Voight, yes, thank you. I kept thinking, I was like, what's his face from Deliverance? What's his name? But I love him so much more. I think he's so much more funny.
I remember the first time I've seen the John Voight character. It was also the beginning of them doing characters. I haven't watched SCN in 2 weeks, and I came to that episode and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Why is he in character? But the more I saw him do John Voight, the more I can imagine it in my head. Usually when you do like these scenarios, it's funny, but he's the only one, like an image pops in my head or a video in my head, and it's just perfect.
I think we're crushing Weston's soul.
Why?
Because
I totally respect that, my dude. I love that you love him. I love that we're getting, variety of characters. He's just he's not my favorite. That's fine. Whatever. All good. Don't matter.
Now again, this is the both of you. I want to see a newbie's perspective as much as someone who's a hardcore fan. What is your dream match? Something we haven't seen yet.
Who are you talking to?
Both of you.
I have to think on that one for a minute.
A dream match. Exhibition match. I really want to see a musical exhibition match. I want to see it between Rachel Silvestrini, Roca, and Draco, and maybe a Bria and Chandler. Maybe not. I know they've been rallying to get one. And Draco, he is a serious force when it comes to all things musical. He's fantastic. But also hosting it would be, I would have to say, at least Bibbs would have to be one of the commentators. Because, his musical background, obviously. But outside just like a regular match, I would have to say probably another Smets Kalinowski. I would love to see that. That's just me.
Me would be a team up of teams match, and I know they can do it. They've proven both won the fan leagues, one in the exhibition. Smets and Parker versus the Founding Fathers in a singles teams match.
In a traditional teams match outside of IG.
Because Parker has done matches on like non-inner geekdom in the fan leagues and still hasn't lost ever.
He's okay.
And Smets has been killing in the exhibition. So I see them teaming up and going against Dan Murrow and John Roca. Hell, just for an exhibition, but I would love to see what they would bring against them.
You
don't seem sure. All right.
I respect your suggestion.
Huh?
I don't agree, but I respect that suggestion for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
My dream match, unfortunately, it can't happen because Schnepp's gone, but it would have been Schnepp versus Coy.
Schnepp would have won, hands down, though. I say that out of love. Coy can't play. He's like 0-3 or 4. He's like, it's rough.
Yeah, he's good with people, not trivia.
Yeah, he's even said, he's like, I can't play. I mean, he forgot what Central City was. So
yeah,
that's wow. And
he's,
for the Flash. it's like a whole thing. He even it was like a whole thing for a bit. Yeah. I felt so bad for him because he knows, he knows, but brain fart under the lights. It's real.
One that's possible, but it's nobody that's active in Schmodown right now, is me versus Larry. That's my dream match, just because I want to be in a match.
Is Larry good at movie?
I don't know. I've never met Larry. Larry's in Texas, I'm in Pennsylvania, but we go at it all the time on UCN Live.
I love Larry. Larry's one of my is a good friend of mine. He's really wonderful. Both him and Lindsay, they're fantastic. I love them. They're my favorite people. I was like, I don't know if he's like a real big, I haven't really seen him or heard him talk about ever wanting to competing. So I'd be curious. Are you talking about Larry Lease?
Yes.
Or Larry Payne?
Larry Lease.
I'm thinking about a completely different Larry. I'm so sorry. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
Larry Lease is my Newman.
I can see that.
Seinfeld reference, right?
Yes, and I hate Seinfeld, but I know that reference.
Well, if you ever want to have a little match, I'd be more than happy to write questions for y'all. Just saying.
There you go, Larry. Gauntlets thrown. I know you're in the chat. Waiting for a response. I don't think he's going to respond.
Do you guys have you guys heard the discussions on, Man of Steel, a potential Man of Steel 2?
I just heard there might be the sequel, but I've been so busy with the pregnancy and trying to set up the room and
dude, you got to get your priorities in gear because that is like some shitty excuse after excuse. I mean, you should really be ashamed of yourself. I mean, prioritizing the birth of your child in a few weeks.
And taking care of a pregnant woman, how dare I? You're
so lame.
Getting water 9 times a day and moving her everywhere. No, it's how dare I put my girlfriend?
Indeed,
So here's Larry's response.
I thought you were cool, but I don't know if I can be with. Share the screen with someone that's has their priorities like that.
Just the fact that you thought that was cool is good enough for me, Alex. But yeah, so since you apparently are less busy with printing people, could you fill us in what happened with the news?
Oh, nothing too much. I mean, there's just let me see if I can find it again, because I heard there was like some news about like some heavier rumors talking about how Man of Steel 2 could happen, just because, especially in the past, several months, after, the impact of Justice League being bought and being re-edited, and post-production is going to be changed up significantly. They're adding almost up to $50 million to really kind of go into the re-edits, because Zack Snyder, before before Joss Whedon came aboard, he filmed like almost 6 hours of footage, unedited footage. And so the potential is crazy. So there is the idea that, they're gonna make it into a mini series where they're gonna do like an hour a week, like a mini series pretty much. Or alternatively, it could be like a part 1, part 2 situation, and it would be like a good 5.5 hour whole epic. So where they really kind of go into each of the, Justice League members and everything, which would be really cool. But, because of the popular and really great response to that, some people are talking about, how much we really miss Henry Cavill, obviously, as Superman, because he is this generation's, Superman. And, regardless of how you feel about Christopher Reeves and everything, obviously being, an amazing Superman, he's not our generation's Superman, So, and people, that movie has gained a real following, critically, especially critically speaking, over the past few years. So I wouldn't be surprised if something's going to happen here very soon. But however, I can't remember who it was. I think it was some kind of DC executive person said that he has signed on to do, Henry Cavill has signed on to do several more films as Superman, but he's going to be no more than a cameo role, which kind of hurts my heart.
Yeah, he doesn't deserve the Hulk treatment. He really don't. And honestly, my thoughts on the whole Justice League bit is I'm wondering if everything that they're going to shoot, because remember, Justice League was supposed to be parts 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if everything they're going to shoot, I wonder if most of what's in Justice League, barring the obvious Whedon stuff, I wonder gets cut, and then all the Snyder stuff gets put in its place for what it was.
That's already been confirmed. It is.
And then everything else after that becomes part 2.
I don't know.
Because I know when Joss Whedon came aboard, they changed the entire tone of the movie. They added much more comedy scenes. They reshot a lot of the scenes and everything, but they added an entire villain, so it's to say they changed it up. I mean, they even changed the composer. They changed it. They went from it wasn't Tyler Bates. It was the guy that did Wonder Woman. I can't remember.
XL, isn't it?
Maybe it's Junkie XL. I wouldn't be surprised. He did BVS, but apparently they changed it to Danny Elfman, because Danny Elfman had a very different approach where they could emphasize a lot more of the comedic aspects of Justice League, because they thought that would be a lot easier to handle, especially coming off hot of Deadpool and everything, and Man of Steel didn't do well, and it's that and BBS it's much more serious toned, and they were like, Justice League, we're already investing like $200 million and something dollars, not even cutting marketing, so we should probably be safer and make it funnier and much more appealing. But yeah, they've very vocally have come forward saying that this is going to be the true version of Zack Snyder. No Danny Elfman music. They're going to bring all that Junkie XL music back. They're going to get rid of all those scenes that they had with that Joss Whedon directed, and they're going to put everything back. And there's going to be a lot more emphasis on the villain as well. And not only Steppenwolf, but also Darkseid.
And I really hope it works, because if they're doing a Man of Steel 2, I hope it continues from the Jack Snyder's version of his take, right? Because I have a feeling that Superman's more involved in Justice League in his version. So
he was if they do, black suit too, wasn't he?
I'm sorry.
Wasn't he inside the black suit?
No, not in this one. No.
Oh,
he was teased to wear the black suit at some point, but he wasn't. From what I remember, that was like in some deleted scenes with the Zack Snyder's one that was released later on. I do know as well that this, like I mentioned, it's going to be like his entire version of it. So Joss Whedon's like not all too excited, obviously. So I am kind of curious, when, reviews and everything come out, how that's going to really play out. If there's going to be this Zack Snyder versus Joss Whedon situation,
Now, while we're talking comic book movies, I read something earlier today. James Gunn came out and made a statement saying that, one, he never wants to do an Avengers film.
Yeah.
2, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 will probably be his final one for the franchise. Do you think that pretty much is him signaling to Disney, 1, screw you for screwing me, and 2, I like what I'm doing at DC and I'm going to stay there and I'm going to make comic book movies there?
No, I don't think so. I don't see that at all. I personally feel like he was actually given a good deal, considering, honestly. But James Gunn, with that whole situation that happened, he got a good situation coming out of it. I honestly feel like Disney knew what they were coming into when they hired him. They knew his social media history. Because he already at that point, it was years before the whole, like those, like a lot of those messages and tweets and everything that's sent out before, those were released years ago, and it was already acknowledged in his contract. It was discussed, and James Gunn publicly apologized before that, years before he joined on to do Guardians of the Galaxy. And so when they finally was like almost like re-released, acknowledged again, Disney had to I don't want to say pretend to be surprised, but they had to do like something formally say it. So they pretty much said, hey, you can do whatever movies you want, but keep in mind, we do have this contract for you to do this movie. And, but in the meantime, we know we put you in this really awful situation and it looks really bad for you. We know that. So you can do whatever project you want. And so doing Suicide Squad too. That's a great pick, though. Got to hand it to him. But but he is coming back to work again with doing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and because it's very difficult to do an Avengers movie. No one is ever happy unless you're the Russo brothers.
Yeah.
We shit on everyone that directs an Avengers movie unless you're the Russo brothers, essentially, as fans.
See, I think we did pretty good at the first Avengers.
Yeah, that's true. But he was attacked by a lot of fans.
Fell flat.
He hasn't had success since Avengers, though, Joss Whedon.
True.
Film-wise, what other movies has he done since? And we can't count his success with Justice League, because that arguably wasn't even him. So
yeah, that's him patching up. No.
So again, James Gunn is not doing this. It's not like a FU to Disney. If anything, I think again, he's getting really, really big projects and he's taking advantage. And I do not blame him for wanting to step away from being involved with MCU in general, especially as a filmmaker, that a lot of that creative control is taken away from you, especially as a director. And for a director like him that needs that creative control, he's like, hey, I can take control of a lot of these other projects, so why would I want to do that?
But if it's creative control you're going after, why go DC? Because they have a history of just botching up things.
If you look at a lot of the newer stuff, if you look at Joker, Todd Phillips is almost entirely him. They're going in a completely new direction. And DC, they have they have a history of a lot of horrible movies, arguably a lot of horrible movies, but they have completely new studio heads involved that are giving their filmmakers a lot more creative control. That's why we got Aquaman and Wonder Woman and Joker the way that we did, because at that point they were transitioning different studio heads to allow them a lot more creative control with their characters. Versus MCU, they're allowed very little to no creative control. So
well, a lot of that's Feige, or
exactly. If you're going into those movies, you know what's going to happen. So
because Feige's already got the map laid out for where it's like, okay, here's your start point. This is where we need to be by the end of your film, so that way we can take that road to the big bad for whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, for us, it was Thanos. Now, whatever it's going to be next. I mean, I don't know how you get bigger than Thanos, but
you can get bigger than
Galactica.
Yeah.
Galaga, or is it Galactica or Galaga?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you start
Galactus,
cosmic,
Galactus, thank you.
You're going to be going cosmic, so yeah.
Yeah, with the Immortals and everything. Yeah.
But yeah, like that's the first thing when I heard they bought Disney's like, yes, we can finally have not a bad version of Galactus. We can do him justice, because he's an impressive character. He's as big as the planet.
I would love
if you get that visually.
I'd love to see. You're talking Galactus. I would love to see Silver Surfer back.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think we will. I feel like it's a matter of time. I give it maybe 5 years before we see Silver Surfer on screen again, and maybe Doug Jones will come back. Who knows? That'd be pretty awesome.
Also, Apocalypse. I just remembered Apocalypse from X-Men.
Hey, does someone have like a tab open or something? I could hear like beeps or something going on in the background.
I seem to be okay. Let's close some things here.
I just hear like a beep coming up from someone. I know it's not me.
Could be one of my smoke alarms in my house that I gotta change.
Oh, it sounds like a tab. Like someone's getting notifications from a tab or something.
Oh, I got nothing. Nothing on my end, and my cell phone's closed. So
weird. Don't know.
Yeah, I don't have anything that's doing notifications.
Oh, that's weird. Oh, anyway, but
oh well.
It's all good.
Where was he at? So yes, the next big bag. Well, I would love to see a Silver Surfer, but again, like, do you make him the main character, or do you do him like what he did with Black Widow and other characters? They shoot them into another main character's movie. How would you like to see Silver Surfer portrayed?
I like how they did it with Fantastic Four: Rise of Silver Surfer. I poo on that movie a lot, but at the same time, I like what they were going for with him. I feel that could work with the way that the MCU is currently laid out. I mean, obviously, I don't know what they're going to do cosmically because, one, we've not seen it yet. X-Men are coming. We know that. Fantastic Four is going to come sooner or later. We know that because they're the first family of Marvel. They have to be there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just basically, I guess I think it's too soon to say how you would like to see it laid out for him. Either be a primary or a secondary at the moment, or a secondary that garners into a primary, because we haven't seen that side of Marvel yet. We've gotten a taste of it with Guardians and with Thanos, but not full on yet. If I'm making sense saying it that way.
For me, you introduce him in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. You stay cosmic, so you bring in a cosmic into a cosmic movie.
Yeah, I would love to see more focus on villains. Ideally, that's something definitely the DC movies have a really good hold over Marvel and just the MCU in general, because MCU, in spite of not having the more iconic villains, they have some really awesome villains that we have not focused on, because, obviously we've been focusing on the growth of the individual, heroes with the Avengers and everything. And, you've had Black Panther, we have, Black Widow and everything, and they're all fantastic. But at the same time, We still have yet to see, aside from Thanos, obviously, and arguably Loki, but I don't feel like he's a villain anymore. But whatever, that's a whole other conversation. But
He's gone and dead anyhow.
Yeah, but I feel like we haven't really had a solid, really great movie that focuses on a villain all that much. And maybe, and I know there were I know Larry in the chat said I would love to see Nolan take on the DC universe, and I have to say to you, he has. It's called the Dark Knight trilogy. But we've seen that. I don't think he would ever come back to comic book movies. That'd be interesting, but I feel like he already
not
did
in
what he wanted
multiverse.
to do.
Not in a universe type thing. Standalone, maybe.
I don't think he would ever want to be in a connected universe like that, just because he, like James Gunn, Nolan is one of those directors. He's very vocal about how much creative control he wants when making those movies. He's like, yeah, I can shop around. I don't need to work with you as a studio. You don't need me. You need me. I don't need you. There's no one else that's like me director-wise. He is a household name. And he guarantees money, no matter what he does. Tenant included. And
especially in a day and age of this is a time of actors. Directors rarely stand out, right? So if you're able to stand out as a director, you have a lot of leeway.
Yeah, I totally agree. Directors now, it's very difficult to really stand out as a director. There's very few I don't want to say name brand directors. That sounds weird, but I mean very well-known actors. I mean, not actors, but directors that have a very specific style. I think James Gunn is definitely one of those directors that really come into it. I don't think the Russo brothers have had. I think as amazing as the Russo brothers are, I feel like that as far as recognition goes when it comes to style, I feel like James Gunn is actually a little bit higher because no matter what movie you're watching of James Gunn, you see it and you're 100% James Gunn.
Yeah.
Russo brothers, you don't get that. It's almost like a Coen brothers movie. You're any of the Coen brothers movies, you're 100% Coen brothers. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Same with Nolan. Nolan, you know what you're gonna get. You're never gonna get a rom-com, a soft coming of age sports movie. Although I would love to see that.
You never know, but yeah, no.
He likes that intensity. He likes that very specific aesthetic that challenges him, and he's not gonna get that through traditional means. So he likes something that he can make on his own 100%.
Sorry, I got distracted here. Superman's trending. So I wanted to see if something, because we were just talking about it. It's just the same thing saying about WB dragging their feet on Man of Steel too.
Well, I got a question since we are talking with Superman. Who do you put as a villain if ever you do Man of Steel 2?
Brainiac.
Brainiac would be pretty cool.
I think it's a logical choice, right?
I mean, he has God, so you might as well go with Brainiac.
Brainiac would be pretty solid. I would love to see some smaller, weirder superhero.
About his
Hank Henshaw.
I don't know who that is.
Ultraman, that's his alter ego. He's the villain versus.
He's a super villain. That's he was also very much an enemy in being in Green Lantern, essentially. But he's almost like this metal skeleton dude that puts on the face of Superman every once in a while, or really have a real what was it? I can't remember what it's called, but pretty much it's Batman. The Batman Batman wouldn't be Batman if he didn't plan for all situations, right? So what if Superman or Wonder Woman suddenly went evil? With all their powers, they have all the potential to completely wreck the world, right? They could destroy planets. Absolutely. Batman knows this and acknowledges this, and actively on the DL has been would keep tabs on how he could kill him if absolutely necessary. And so what if someone got a hold of those plans? So if we had almost a weird evil version of Batman.
And what about you, Hotel?
I just had a thought, and I'm going to pull a Jay Wade and say that I lost it.
I don't know who you put as a villain, but I would love to see almost Superboy as a villain, knowing that he got cloned and he has to face to face with his clone, right, and fight him. I don't know if it'd be the main villain, if it would evolve with another story, but do something non-traditional. Don't just put a bad guy to put a bad guy. Make it advance a plot line for a certain, like a reason, right? Not just, stick him in and, I'm the bad guy. I want to destroy the world because I want to destroy the world. We've seen that so many times. So I want them to innovate on what we see as a bad guy.
Yeah, I can see that. So essentially, it sounds like you really want to see almost like an anti-hero, right?
Yeah, but
like maybe a smaller story, anti-hero story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something less grandiose,
Maybe like with Solomon Grundy or something. That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah. Actually, that'd be cool.
And you can tie in a little bit of Batman through that. I mean,
I was thinking Bizarro. When I was saying alter ego for man,
Mongol.
I was thinking Bizarro.
Or what's his name? The one who never dies. He's been there since the beginning of humanity. He was big on the CW shows.
Martian Manhunter?
No. He's a white dude with a big beard, long hair.
Oh.
In the he was one of the main villains of, I think, Arrow and also Legends of Tomorrow.
Vandal Savage?
Yes.
Weston and I said it at the same time.
Yeah, I don't recognize that.
Oh, you don't know Vandal? He's interesting because he does not necessarily have superpowers, but he's been there since the dawn of man. So he's seen it all. He's lived it all. And he has this wisdom and this evilness that combines together that would kind of be a good replacement for Lex Luthor. Because talk about, villains that we've seen too often. We talked about Joker. Lex Luthor has been portrayed way too many times. And so bring a Lex Luthor-ish type, but with a different angle, which would be perfect Vandal Savage.
And little known fact, Dean Cain's character in Smallville was finally confirmed by Legends of Tomorrow here. I think it was in the finale this season to actually be Vandal Savage, just under a different alias.
Cool.
So, because they wanted to use Vandal Savage in Smallville, but then DC went and pulled a classic DC and turned around and said, no, we can't use him because we have plans for him. So they had to change the name.
I could see that. That's a pretty DC move.
Which I never quite understood that, because, I get that you have plans for it, because you have the Flash, like, case in point, you have the Flash show, and now you're supposed to have the Flash movie whenever, if ever, it's going to get off the ground, especially after what
it's very
did here a couple months ago.
It's very different depending on the mediums. Obviously, you like. Do you remember like a few years ago when in the same month, like No Strings Attached and that No Strings Attached and it was that movie with Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher. Can't remember what it's called, but anyway, okay. Well, there's another one. Okay, so Mirror Mirror and the other one where Kristen Stewart, she plays Snow White essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Those movies came out a month apart. Okay. So same characters, essentially very different genres and everything, but at the same time, they're both fairy tales. They're both based off the same characters, right? So if they come out too soon, it's one thing if they come out like a year apart or even 6 months apart, but if they come in like too close to each other and they even look remotely similar, it really can get iffy legal wise. And so I definitely understand also, but if you have bigger plans for a company to work with this villain, you wouldn't want to start comparing him to this if you have like really big plans for the DCEU to incorporate these awesome kick-ass villains, only to like see him in like a really shitty version on TV, like only a few weeks or months earlier, it's almost like, why would you want to get excited? Like you probably wouldn't get as excited versus like the big reveal, you know?
Well, at the same time, they kind of did that with Cyborg in. Cyborg in Doom Patrol, right? He was in Justice League, and then he was in Doom Patrol.
And look how that worked out. They had a movie, and suddenly they didn't.
Yeah, Joe.
And also, Doom Patrol is not super popular. It does have a cult following. It's not very popular, though.
One DC character that absolutely needs a movie is Static Shock.
Ooh, Livewire. Livewire 100% needs
Isn't that a villain though?
She is totally a villain. Yeah.
Okay. Flash, right?
Batman or Superman, I want to say.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think it's DC villain. You know, they intertwine.
Yeah, they really intertwine. I don't know if there's one I want to. I'll think about it. What about you? Is there a quintessential else in Livewire, another quintessential villain or hero you would like to see?
Livewire is a Superman villain, premiered in March 1997 in Superman Adventures #5.
Right on, Alex. You're right.
I would love to see that. I also really would love to see a really cool Mad Hatter on the big screen.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about it.
Mad Hatter is one of those villains that's very underutilized.
He was great in Gotham. Whoever played him in Gotham was amazing.
I know a lot of people that really hate Gotham, and I really enjoy Gotham because it knows what it is, and they really camp it up, and I'm so here for it. It's fantastic. It's like, how many references can we squeeze into a movie? Like Pee Wee Herman was Cobblepot's dad, who played the Penguin's dad in Batman.
Perfect.
You know, it's there's so many callbacks, so many Easter eggs, which I really enjoy. But I would love to see it. But him in Gotham was really great because I didn't know who Mad Hatter was, and then I was like, oh, is that like a real villain or is it like an original villain? Then I looked him up, and I was like, oh shit, this is like a villain that's kind of, especially now with like mind control and corruption, you can really talk. Oh my gosh, you can talk about there's so many routes you can take. You can talk about, political intrigue. You can talk about a bazillion and one things. Honestly, you can take it in a lot of different directions. Is a political thriller with mind control by Mad Hatter? Yes. Give me money, DC. Just give me the money.
You add him in a team with Calendar Man and Clock King.
Oh yeah.
Because I know you've joked about it in the past too, but for me, DC has weirder villains, like we all know, but done correctly, Calendar Man and Clock King. Clock King is an OCD, perfect timing. That's a superpower. He's never offbeat. He can. Him
and Calendar Man, but they're a good team up villain.
I mean, Batman has a villain called Condiment Man. So
yeah. Calendar Man's pretty fantastic. I don't want to say he's beaten Batman, but at the same time, he's definitely got really close to him a few times. And Batman, he's visited him in prison, a handful of times, trying to solve his puzzles and everything. And he's like, well, no one else can understand this except obviously Riddler, because Riddler's probably behind it, but Calendar Man. He's low-key incredibly audacious villain.
You know who we need as a villain in DC? Just in a film eventually. I don't care if it's a Flash film or not. We need Trickster with Mark Hamill playing him.
You see, I'm okay. I've seen it on the show, so that's satisfying.
He plays it so well, though.
I think that I love Mark Hamill. I feel like that's a little on the nose to me.
That or Sebastian Stan.
I'm sorry?
Sebastian Stan?
Yeah. I mean, to me, again, it's just a little too on the nose. I don't want to see Mark Hamill in a DC movie like a movie, personally, DCEU movie or anything, just because it almost takes me out of the movie experience. Personally, it's like like if I see Star Trek and if I see a Star Trek movie and I casually see Brad Pitt in the background, I'm going to be like, that's Brad Pitt. You know, I'm not going to be like, that's some extra. It's going to take me out of the what I'm seeing and be like, oh. And if I see Mark Hamill as anyone, especially in DC, as anyone that's not the Joker, I'm just going to be like, you're not this character.
Now, see, I'm that moviegoer that I'm notorious for looking in the background, like because the camera's focused on the primary, obviously, but I'm always looking behind, especially in horror movies.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it was the one at the poster that had the little kid that was scraping her hand up against the wall, and it was like the bloody face of the villain. I can't remember what the name of it is. It was the one where the videos showed how people were dying.
Oh, Sinister?
Yes, that one. I got all the way to the hallway scene where the box is in the hallway.
That movie is really solid. It's a really solid original horror movie.
Yeah. I think it's a really original horror story, and I loved it for it. But at the same time, in the background, I was able to see some of the production team in the hallway, like the boom mic and the production team running around setting up for the next scare. It's like, nope, I'm done. I can see you. I'm done. I'm out of the movie.
Yeah. Like sometimes that's appealing. Like if you're watching Evil Dead, that's kind of fun, you know, but it's a very different situation if you're in a movie where it's not meant to be like a horror comedy or something. I do know someone in the chat, Andrew Valdez, what up, my dude? He mentioned Zatanna. Oh my gosh, for Justice League Dark.
Yeah, like Zatanna and what's his name? The one with the golden helmet. That's connected. Like connect the universe, magic universe with Zatanna and see where it goes. But yeah, that would be the thing is, would you go with the daughter or would you go with the father first?
Daughter.
Yeah, okay.
I personally would, just because I think we need more women in the world of DCEU, actually on the big screen, especially.
We need more women and we need more minority heroes.
Yeah. I would love to see, you know, the actress, I can't remember what descent she is, but I've seen her being cosplayed of Asian, of Black, of, you know, being mixed and everything. You can go in a lot of different directions. And she's such a badass, cool character. And she's almost has this relationship that's kind of similar to Catwoman when it comes to her relationship with Batman as well. So you can kind of go in that direction. They're kind of, it's sometimes there's romantic moments, but there's not. But thing is, you know, Zatanna never gets pregnant, you know. So
I would actually love to see a father-daughter movie. Explore that relationship, having more focus on Zatanna the daughter, but make them be on screen together, right? And
like
then
supervillain father-daughter.
No, but he's not a supervillain.
I've always kind of pictured him kind of villainous, but
okay. I would love this like that relation together, but okay. Personally, I would before Zatanna though. I would love to see Swamp Thing get a proper shot.
The show was really great.
Why did it get canceled? I never understood.
It's coming back.
It is coming back?
HBO now. That's the last I heard. Let me double check that, but as far as I know, it's coming back.
Don't give false hopes, man. Don't not give.
Canceled before the show even hit DC, the DC app, which hurts my soul. Like 3 days before it went on, the first episode came up, it was canceled, which sucks because it's really good.
Swamp Thing is coming to the CW after the DCU cancellation.
Wait. Oh. So wait,
it's going to CW.
It's not the same show then. They're redoing it. it's going to be like a whole new thing. It's probably going to be all new actors and stuff.
Well, they kept Constantine, right? It wasn't the same network. They kept the actors, so you never know. But the feel won't be the same, though.
This was May 11th. This was just May 11th of this year. Swamp Thing canceled. Oh, stupid pop-ups. Go away.
The internet.
Swamp Thing canceled at DC Universe, coming to the CW. CW will continue to add to its acquired series roster, fresh off adding the first 2 seasons of CBS All Access anthology series Tell Me a Story. Swamp Thing starring Crystal Reed, and based off the DC title of the same name,
Gotham,
the second DC Universe series. Oh, come on. I hate these pages that do this.
You have to click on next for
DC series to air on the CW, joining Stargirl, whose episodes will debut on the linear network a day after they launch on the streamer. So it sounded like it's the same series coming back for season 2 on CW.
Interesting.
I hope they get the tone right. I really hope they get the tone right. They actually did a good job transitioning Supergirl, so you never know, though.
I think it would fit better on HBO Max, though, because in HBO Max, you just kind of take it and run with it. Because I always picture Swamp Thing to be more horror-themed, elemented.
Of course.
I mean, Green Lantern's getting on HBO Max. Why can't Swamp Thing?
Swamp Thing is also it's a very a lot of people kind of similar to Poison Ivy, where they're like besties essentially. Well, not besties, but where there's a lot of environmental terrorism. There's that, there's a lot of it's very sexual as well. But he pretty much like creates a fruit and makes whoever eats it. Anyway, but that which was weird. But also it's like you said, it's very horror focused. And considering how much I enjoyed that first season, I know if they went to HBO, they would want to redo it completely. So they would want a whole new cast, whole new directors, reshot it and everything. And so they can like do a very different adaptation. So I would love to see that version. I just kind of want to see both versions as well.
Yeah.
In a perfect world. I do know in the chat, like some people mentioned, some, I know Ben Rayner, he mentioned some people he would love to see as John Stewart for Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And, Michael B. Jordan, I think that would be a really great suggestion. Mahershala Ali, I know would never happen considering he's Blade and the MCU.
I'm glad you can pronounce that name because there's no way in hell I could have.
Mahershala?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've tried pronouncing that name so many times and I butcher it every time.
Yeah, it takes a few times for sure. But I know he's gonna be in Blade when that comes up. So he's like contractually obligated to say no to that if he were offered.
Which is a genius move by Marvel. I never thought of it, but when I saw
MCU, just to clarify, MCU.
Sorry, but yeah, he's such a perfect fit. He has a seriousness. He looks like a badass,
For Blade or
for Blade.
Oh yeah.
He has that persona, that vibe about him that he walks in a room and just like, yeah, that's a badass. So it fits Blade so well.
He's also beautiful. He's so beautiful.
We know who's playing Blade, so who plays Whisper?
Say what?
We know who's playing Blade, so who plays Whisper? The one that
the vampire dude?
Yeah, I can't remember who played him in the original Blade.
Yeah, I know his name. I know his face, not his name. Oh wait, give me a hot minute.
It's not Jeff Bridges, is it?
No, it's not Jeff Bridges. Give me a hot minute. Give me like 5 seconds.
It's been a long time since I watched the Blade movies.
Okay, so it came out in 98, which is nuts. Okay, so Stephen Dorff, he played Dinkin Frost, the vampire. And they wanted to pretty much harvest people, like harvest people for the blood, like just the way we do animals. So that'd be pretty interesting.
Chris Christopherson. That's who I'm thinking of. That's the actor I'm thinking of. He played.
Can you bring up a picture?
Yeah, give me 1 second here. Come on, right there.
Oh, I'm thinking. Okay, I thought of the different character altogether.
Yeah,
I can barely.
Oh,
yeah, he's
hang
not.
on. I'll blow it up for you.
Oh yeah, okay, all right, I see what you mean.
Yeah, he played Whistler in the original set of movies. Now I wonder who would take his role, being that we know who Blade is, who plays the Whistler role.
Ooh.
What's his name? Crap, I don't know, huh? Oh, the guy. For me, the guy who played
was playing Deacon.
I'm gonna throw something out there.
Yeah.
I would have to say Kurt Russell.
But he's kind of the obvious choice, though, no?
You know what? Kurt Russell's wonderful in everything. He is a gosh darn gem of a human being. How dare you?
He's the Meryl Streep.
How dare you? He is a wonderful. Yeah, that's true. That's true, Ben. Absolutely. I totally agree. Yeah. Jeff Bridges for Whistler. Dude knows how to rock a bushy beard. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey, if that's the only criteria, I'm audition.
I'm not gonna lie. I love on a man. I love me some facial hair. Every time my husband he shaves, I'm like, baby face. What is this? What is this?
Oh, COVID killed my girlfriend. My beard was to here, and then COVID happened, and I'm like, well, there's no barbers. I ain't gonna survive. Let's just shaved it off.
Do you like oil it or anything?
Yeah, I've been putting castor oil since I'm 17. Good. But I've been shaving since I'm like 12.
Yeah, I've seen some beards that are like, they're pulling a Santa Claus situation, and that's fine and all. If you have a beard, you just got to know how to work it. You got to sometimes you got to put oil, sometimes you got to trim it down. You got to make it look good.
Oh, even with oil,
as good as it gets for me.
Everyone's different. It really is.
Yeah, I sneeze and it pops out. It's ridiculous. Like I shave a day after, it's like already popping out. Like, ugh.
My brother, I remember I grow more facial hair than my brother. It's embarrassing. Sometimes he would like go up to me and be like, Alex, hey. And I'm like, what? And he'll be like, I'm jealous. And I'm like, fuck you, Bill. Because I don't have a stash, but at the same time, I have more facial hair than my brother. But we're Asian, so it's like a whole thing. We can't grow facial hair in our family. It's like it's ridiculous. My brother is very distraught about it. He's very jealous.
I can give him some. It's me. It goes out.
Just like cut and paste it.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
How it works. That's how it works, right?
Do you have like crazy glue? Just like put them on.
Yeah, just stick it, just like right there.
Mine is so thick, so sometimes it like will go through my shirt and start poking me, and I can feel it, and it actually hurts. It's like that thick.
Yeah. It can get intense sometimes, depending on what kind of hair you have. Absolutely. I've seen some men with facial hair where it's super duper soft and it's like very fine hair. But other times it can come out really coarse, thick. And not to mention, especially if you don't take care of it, it just looks, it feels and looks like very, staticky and everything. So you got to take care of it for sure. Because it will, if you don't, it shows. Yeah,
and that's why I shaved it when COVID happened. Like, my beard gets so wild, and like I can hide a bag of Cheetos. You know, it got that bad. So yeah, I just to shave off, and my girlfriend's getting used to it. It's the second time she saw me without beard, but the first time she like stared at me for 10 minutes and asked who I was. Even my employees did not like. One of them took 3 days because I manage a couple people, right?
Yeah.
And one person took 3 days. Not realizing I wasn't a new guy. I was actually his boss.
Have you seen the show The Great by chance?
No.
It just came out on Hulu.
Yet.
It has Elle Fanning and Nicholas Hoult. It's a fictional account of Catherine the Great and her relationship with her Russian husband, the Tsar, I guess, if that's the term. But essentially, there was for a long time there was this law that no man under the age of 50 can have facial hair.
Oh wow!
Like it's a law, and it was considered an archaic thing. Like if you have facial hair, you're poor, you're old, you're from the old country, old religion, all that. It's a class thing. So if you're able to shave as regularly and safely as you are, it's considered like it's a classy thing. But at the time. He would be like, if you are at a certain age, you are legally required to, otherwise you get like a finger cut off if you're caught situation. It was like a whole thing. He's trying to modernize the country through men's facial hair. But there's this one episode that's actually dedicated to it, which was kind of funny, where one of the really classy, higher up families, the head of the family, the patriarch, he came in with a beard, and he's like, I am hoping I am an excuse to the rule, because I am giving you so much money and you need me right now. So let me keep my fucking beard, because I look better with a beard. But also I haven't been without a beard in like 30 years, and the man is like 40 years old. I'm not going without a beard. That's the way it is. But so it's like a whole thing. And he's like, what? You're insulting me by wearing a beard in front of me. So you deserve to get your hands cut off or something. You have to, or else you're going to be killed. You're going to be beheaded. He threatened to kill him because of his beard. And he's like, okay, you have like 10 hours to go shave it. And he's like, but he said the reason why he has a beard, he started growing out a beard as quickly as it is because he has really awful pustules and boils on his face and scars. And he has a young wife that's never seen him without a beard. And he's scared his wife will never love him if he shaves, because she can see all of his pustules and everything. And it's like a whole plot thing throughout the story. It's really weird. Like the conversation of the beard is like a consistent plot point throughout the whole movie, because it's like one of the old rules. Like it's an old rule, but he's trying to make it new and edgy or something. It's so weird. It's so weird, but it's on Hulu. I liked it. Go check it out. Sorry, right. Alex rants. I apologize.
No, that's good.
What's the name of the show again, or the movie?
It's called The Great. It's a show. It's like only 6 episodes.
Okay.
So. On
what, Amazon or HBO?
On Hulu.
Which we don't have in Canada. Yay to us.
That's weird.
Now, the whole system here in streaming is completely different in the US. Crave is HBO here. We have like HBO, Showtime, and the Movie Network.
Do you have VPN?
Nope.
Do you have any kind of VPN?
You mean yeah, but
you're able to like change countries temporarily or something?
Yeah, but in Canada they're very strict about that. You get caught, like the internet providers are pretty quick to notify you to stop.
That's weird. I used to use that all the time. Well, Lucas and I were trying to move right now, and we were kind of looking at stuff like that, where because we have VPNs to kind of protect us, and we would use it if we were trying to watch shows or something in other countries. And, and every country is a little bit different versus like what content is available like on Netflix and Hulu and everything. And so that's a little scary to me if I would be able to.
Canada, we're very chill with certain things, but when it comes to arts and copyrights and stuff, they're very strict. Like I got I got actually my Netflix blocked because of VPN. I had to create a new account, and I've been, I've dabbled in torrents and everything. And every time I download something, the internet provider always sends an email. You have been caught. You have been on the list. This is your fifth, time we're warning you. So they're very strict on it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, we got free Medicare, so I can't complain.
That's definitely a plus.
So while we're talking about streaming services and whatnot, are any of you in anime at all?
Yeah. I'm not into anime as much as I used to be, but I really enjoy anime. Absolutely.
All right. Well, Netflix on Friday just launched the first 130 episodes of One Piece.
Oh, that I don't know. I haven't seen.
So
how many episodes are there then? Good Lord.
Close to 1,000 and counting.
Oh, good Lord. See, that discourages me. I'm not that person that's gonna even if it's really good, knowing there's 1,000 episodes in front of me is kind of discouraging.
Yeah. It's like going into Game of Thrones or something for the first time, knowing how big it is and how epic it is. It's very daunting. I'm like, why would I want to do it? Like I've never seen Naruto, but I think I have no desire to see Naruto just because of how many seasons are involved. And I feel like
I would say that
if I can't go into it casually, I don't want to go into it at all now.
I was gonna say, if you ever would dabble into Naruto, I think it's the last 4 seasons of the original Naruto. Just cut them out. You don't need them. They're all filler. All the last 4 seasons of Naruto are just straight filler.
Oh, I can do that. Sorry, I switched.
No, that's good.
This is like
well, in the meantime, hey Jay Wade.
Jay Wade, what a boy! I feel like I'm touching on ages.
Yeah, hey Jay. Sorry, I had it on banners, not comments, so I didn't see you there. Ben says that people keep saying that about Supernatural, but with 14 seasons, it should be too overwhelming. See, I say different. Supernatural is a fun binge, in my opinion. The first, I would say, 5 episodes of season 1 are a bear to get through, but when we really start getting into the swing of things, it gets fun real quick. The first 5 seasons go by just like that, and
that's how I felt about Buffy. It took me, the first season was like, because my ex was really big into Buffy. I've never seen it before. So the first season I was like a bit dragging, but when I got into it, I like binged the whole thing. That and Doctor Who, pretty much at the same time too, binged both series like in a month and a half.
Yeah, I totally get it. Also, I think it just depends on the type of content it is. What's the difference between something like Supernatural is that even though it is in a fantasy world, it's a very lighthearted, very campy, very funny, show, versus going into a show that's really dark. If you're going to go into something like Game of Thrones, like I mentioned earlier, where there's a lot of dark themes, there's a lot of darkness, throughout, that's a whole other situation. I don't know if I would want to go into some of those shows knowing how intense it could be, especially right now, so if anything, I need a little more escapism. I don't want more dark shit in my life.
Another thing that was added, Funimation adds the English dub of The Promised Neverland. As far as I know, there's only 1 season of that right now, so that one, if you don't want something dark, I would say don't watch that one yet.
maybe when we kind of figure, when things get a little bit better politically and with the world going on right now, it's just so dark going on in the world. Like I probably won't actively be watching something dark like that for a long while. Like I don't want to go watch what, like, it's like I don't want to watch like really awful dramas like right now. I don't want to watch Kramer versus Kramer or Saving Private Ryan right now. What I need, if anything, is Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back. Okay,
Dogma.
Dogma. I need something. Morissette as Jesus, as God. I mean, that's what I need right now.
Or we need Eddie Murphy to come back on stage, stand-up comedy. We need something, like you said, to laugh, right?
You know who we really need? We need two people, and unfortunately, they're both off the planet. Unfortunately, we need Robin Williams, and we need George Carlin. We need them both.
Yeah, I've never. I've honestly, I love Robin Williams' specials. Yeah, those are very. I feel Robin Williams, considering his situation, honestly, I don't know if obviously considering his medical situation, I know he didn't want to obviously continue. With everything going on for him. So it's like if he were here today, unfortunately, he would not be doing movies. He would not be doing Aladdin or doing comedy specials or anything. So
that's true. And then one other thing that got announced yesterday, I believe, is Shaman King manga gets a brand new anime treatment. It's coming in April 2021.
I have no clue what that is. No.
So
we're talking about dark, and it's a very dark thing. And I don't mind watching dark things in darker times. I would actually like to see Berserker to be in a live action.
Isn't Netflix doing that?
It is.
I think they are. I know they're doing Avatar: The Last Airbender as a live action series.
Yes, I saw that. I cannot wait for that.
So, I mean, it can't be any worse than M. Night Shyamalan.
I kind of feel bad about that, to be honest. M. Night Shyamalan, I feel like he's definitely a solid director. But the thing is, tackling something like The Last Airbender is so difficult. I am amazed that Peter Jackson was able to successfully tackle, the Middle Earth like he did successfully. I feel like that, like, going into world building to that extent is so difficult for a director to do, especially one like him, where that's not his thing. That's not his wheelhouse. He's never done that before. The closest thing he's done is probably since Glass or Devil. I mean, and they're more horror-ish, but they're not by any means like fantasy element kind of thing, I
mean, I know I give him crap for that movie, but at the same token, I mean, one, if I'm wrong on this is a story that I read a long time ago. I can't even remember where it was from. Is he didn't really know the material to begin with because he wasn't a fan. Two, his daughter begged and pleaded for him, like literally harassed him to make the movie.
M. Night?
Yeah. So that's the reason why he did it, was basically to shut his daughter up. At least that's the story that I read. And then we got what we got. So
yeah.
That makes sense. Like, I've heard he did it because his children or his daughter liked the show. I don't know about him being forced almost to do it, but
she just kept pestering, and finally, as well, you'll find out soon. As a parent, when a kid's pester you, one of two options is you just want to like sling him across the room, or say fine and just cave and just shut up. I'll do it.
Well. In my case, I'll probably just give the eyes, and she'll probably just understand. But I'll have to determine how we're gonna do discipline in the house. But we'll see. But no, you have to have the right motivations to do a movie, right? If you do it just to please someone, and you don't know the the base knowledge of such a loved anime, most chances it's gonna go wrong. Especially he went from very like low budget, non-visual effect to boom, here's a lot of visual effects. And if you're not, used to working with visual effects and more working just with actors, it can do some really not good results. As I personally thought the last Airbender movie was. It wasn't a good result.
Well, not only that, I mean, it's nothing new where for a kid to pressure their parents or grandparents to get involved in franchises. I mean, Michael Gambon, that was the second Dumbledore, had no desire to be in the Harry Potter films. Whatsoever. He's like, I don't care to do it. I've never read the books. I don't want to do it. I just don't have the time. I'm old AF. It's just not something I want to do. But apparently his granddaughter threatened to never talk to him again if he didn't take the role. So he's like, well, I got to take it now.
And yet it's a perfect match.
And yet sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. But, especially when it comes to directors, it's just something that seems so totally outside its wheelhouse. But again, but sometimes, I don't think he had the technical support either, going into it. Again, I know he was very vocal about how he didn't know the books or the series, as well as he had hoped. But that's also a very difficult world to tackle when it comes to film in general. I pray for any director or creator to go into that. I feel like it's almost impossible. And not to mention, because it is so beloved, no matter what you do, you're going to F up. Like, it sucks. It really does.
Same thing could be applied to Star Wars. Good luck, director joining Star Wars, because it's so beloved. No matter what direction you're gonna go with it, not everyone's gonna be happy. You can't please that much of a fan base
unless you're Dave Filoni.
Yeah, and again, like if he does a movie or kind of
will totally do a movie. He will totally do a movie.
I hope he spearheads. He becomes Star Wars' Feige and not director. I really hope he becomes more of a showrunner than a director. To be honest,
I'm thinking that's where I'm thinking his wheelhouse is going to be. Honestly, because they don't really have anything like him right now, and I know he just confirmed with several sources saying that he's the Clone Wars is done. The series, they were completely wrapped up. A lot of people have been like, hey, you should totally continue it, but he's like, no, we're absolutely done. We finished the project where we wanted to, and we're very happy with the results. Everyone is happy. Fans do want more, and some higher ups want more because
if you think about it, the Clone Wars is actually Ahsoka's story. It started with Ahsoka and it ends with Ahsoka.
Yes.
So, that's her story. And then we get Rebels, which continues her story.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But a lot of people, because was successful, it got them a whole lot of money. They were like, well, why should we stop? And, Dave Filoni, he was very adamant. And he doesn't want to do more. The studios apparently wanted to do more.
And that's a smart choice for him to stop where he stopped, because it led straight up to the events at the end of Sith, and it was Ahsoka's story, and now Rebels went and carried the torch and furthered her story. What I'd like to see her story beyond that and see an actual conclusion to her story in sometime in the future, like a live action show, movie, whatever. Yeah. But it doesn't need to be Clone Wars. It could be its own thing.
Wasn't Rosario Dawson? Is it still a rumor or been confirmed?
No, it's been confirmed that she is going to be. She is Ahsoka. So.
But in what though? Are we seeing her Mandalorian? Oh, okay.
Confirmed for the next season of Mandalorian. It's confirmed. She's apparently already accepting money. Like they're signed on that much right now, and plus she's been very vocal about how excited she is to be involved. So.
And it's like she fits. Like there's something about her and that character that for me, like when I saw the news, it just made sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't she voice her? No, she doesn't voice her.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, it definitely does fit. It is a little annoying that one of the few women of color to get into the Star Wars movie ended up being, completely
Ashley Eckstein voices her.
like covered over in paint. So that's a little frustrating. But
Star Wars.
yeah, it's Star Wars. I get it. Zoe Saldana, she doesn't make money unless she's covered in paint. So
Hey, Star Trek.
Doesn't.
Star Trek.
Yeah, but that movie is not doesn't do well because of her.
It does well because of Chris Pine and
she can be replaced. She's been replaced before.
See, she was a standout moment for me. For me, like I'm not big on the new Star Trek movies, to be honest.
She didn't have contracts though. Several other people had contracts. She personally didn't have contracts when she signed on to Star Trek. She ended up getting a contract later on. Like I think in the second one because people loved her, but she didn't sign on. They didn't assume that she was going to be a standout in the movie and then they realized, oh, she's actually cool. And then in the second movie, she and Star Trek, not Wrath of Khan, but Khan is in it. With,
Into Darkness.
Into Darkness, thank you.
Yeah.
But Into Darkness, then they started doing the contract with her at that point.
Well, it's weird. Do you think it's the reflection of what we're all fighting for? Is it because she's an African American woman, or do you just didn't think the actress would fit?
Well, I mean, she's mixed. I mean, she's Afro-Cubana. Afro-Caribbean. I think that's technically something along those lines. But she's been it is very unfortunate because she is such a talented, really kick-ass actress. But if you look at a majority of the movie, she's arguably one of the most bankable actresses because she is actively part of the main cast for some of the biggest franchises in film. Avatar, biggest movie of all time. That's not even arguable. If we're not adjusting for inflation, she is involved in some of the biggest movies of all time, including the MCU. But yeah, a lot of the movies, but that's being said, she's not considered by herself a bankable actress unless she's like painted essentially, which is really sad. It's
very sad. And I really hope things are going to change fast because even like my kid, she's going to be half white, half Haitian, she is a mixed baby.
Didn't pick that yet?
Yeah, it's Luna Jade.
Oh, that's so cute. I love that.
Technically, it's Luna Jade, her last name. So Luna Jade Sanon. And my last name, Manette. So Luna Jade Sano Manette. Which we chose the name in consideration how well it is when we're mad. Because we're trying names like this name like doesn't sound mad enough. Okay. And then we got Luna Jade Sano Manette. Come here now. Okay, that works.
Not even kidding.
But yeah, so I really hope things because there's no reason for her not to see her as a bankable actor, So it sucks where we are today, today's day and age, and things are still not advancing, and hoping they're advancing now,
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, but that's a really great name, and I'm so excited for you. That's gonna be really fun.
And again,
excited for all the sleep you're gonna be getting.
I barely. I manage a call center, and there's always calls in the middle of the night saying like I still not like sleeping, so it'll be same as usual for me. What is a bit of a kick because we were both considered non-fertile, so this is kind of like a miracle baby. So in my mind, all my years I was like, okay, I'm never gonna be a dad. And Cynthia did the same, and then boom, one day. She got pregnant and it's like, I'm being a dad. So it's the shock, but now I just can't wait to see. Apparently she's going to be a very chubby baby. We're estimating around 10 pounds. So she's a chubby baby.
My brother was when he was born in Oklahoma way back in the day, he was the biggest baby born that month. And he was born at 11 pounds, 9 ounces.
Damn.
Now, my husband, he's one of 3 boys.
Okay.
All of them are like at least 9.5 pounds, which means, and Lucas, he was the smallest apparently at like 9.5 pounds.
Damn.
So essentially, what I'm trying to say is I'm screwed. My body. Yeah, that's gonna be.
One thing we're learning is the feminine body is a miracle on its own. It does things that you think are a straight and narrow thing. It's still coming out. It's gonna find a way to come out.
That's true. The body changes in a million different ways. Yeah, Jon Favreau as the potential new Kathleen Kennedy. I can definitely see that. I don't know if Jon Favreau wants that though. Honestly, I don't know if he does, but that's just me. Like he takes huge times off. He goes to he takes huge lengths of time off from work just so he can do stuff that he wants to do. Like he took like a year and a half off from filming or doing anything just so he can go to cooking school.
And I don't know if
because
I don't know.
That's kind of cool though.
Genuinely wanted to learn it, and that's awesome. And also he ended up making chef, and he loved it so much. And he ended up making the chef show,
Which is awesome.
So good.
Oh, it's awesome.
It's so good.
That's one
out with Sam Raimi over like sourdough bread is the nerdiest shit you will ever see.
And it works so well too because I love the chef he's with. They have such a strange but beautiful chemistry. Like they're like almost like two brothers that like annoy the crap out of each other but still love each other. Yeah. So it really works. And that's one thing. Like I'm not big on Netflix these days. I really am not. But there's something about their cooking shows that makes me go back to Netflix. I binge watch Someone Feed Phil and Chef. Like there's no tomorrow. They have the best cooking shows or food shows.
Now
food shows is like the new thing. Absolutely.
Now going back to talking about Ahsoka for a brief second. Weston came back with us and said about Ashley Eckstein is the voice of Ahsoka.
Who is she?
Okay. Voice actor, I guess.
Second here, I have a picture.
I have her. Yeah, I have her.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, she's not yeah, I can just pull her up real quick. Yeah, so she's a voice actress. She's not she's not an actress as far as I know.
I know the fans wanted her to portray, but
you can pull it up though if you like. I shared the screen at the bottom.
Oh, there we go. I didn't know you. I just learned something new.
Yeah, as far as I know, she's not like a super, like, she doesn't look familiar to me.
Not at all to me.
I've seen her at Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah, so she does mostly voice work from what I see. Yeah, she's been in Lego DC Superhero Girls, Star Wars. She's done some TV shows. She was in Sydney White. Oh, forgot about that movie. But yeah, mostly voice work. So I don't see that coming through. Yeah. Yeah, I don't see that coming through. Oh, I remember her. She was in The Internship. Yeah.
Uh-huh. With Robert De Niro and Anne Hathaway?
No, that's The Intern. The Internship has Owen Wilson, and it takes place at Google.
Oh, that crappy ass movie.
Yeah, I love it.
Really?
I love that movie. I was
never finished it.
How much I genuinely enjoyed that movie. Like,
I tried it, I think, my fourth time, and recently too. I just can't stay awake to save my life.
I loved it. I did. I've cried watching it. It's so funny to me.
Huh.
But that's just me.
And then Jay also went.
That's it.
Jay also asked, would there be a downside to having Eckstein do the voice like Sam did for Maul?
You got such a big actress user.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Is that you got a name? Why would you dub over?
I'm kind of curious. Are you referring to, like, is she as if she's not really going to be in the movie? I mean, sorry, in the show, as if like her physically is not going to be in the show, or is it going to be like
that's the way I'm understanding
hologram situation? Is that what he's asking?
Well,
That's what it feels like.
What I'm thinking is probably have the actress doing Ahsoka, but Eckstein doing the voiceover for the actress, which I
don't like that. I feel like that's a little weird, especially considering it's Rosario fucking Dawson. Like,
that's what my thought is too.
Really want
if you have her acting, use her voice.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
Not to say that Ashley Eckstein's voice is not obviously very iconic and everything. But the thing is, it's just that she's not. Yeah, that's true. But that was a hologram situation. And also in the hologram, they based it off of, doing Sam Witwer actually got dressed and did the physicality to film it so they can make a hologram for that scene. So it's different. So like
and Weston, I think siding with us saying that unnecessary. It's not a Ray Parker, Darth Whitwer situation.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't seem.
That's kind of I'm siding with Weston on that. That's exactly where my mind goes, because if you having somebody in the role, let them act the role out. Like, I mean, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, you got such a big star name. Make her own. If you voice over, it's hard to make it your own, especially if she's there. She has her own show, let's say, or we want to see more of her. Now you're kind of stuck of having the voiceover again, and she cannot really appropriate the character as if she would do the voice herself.
Not to mention, I mean, Ashley, she's very notable, obviously, but she's not a. I don't like saying brand name actress. That sounds weird.
House
name actress. That's where. Yeah, that's that. Thank you. That's what I was saying for. She's not a house name actress. That's just what it is. Maybe she is in voice acting, but this is a whole different situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also this is actually a very, very good comparison. Eckstein is a legend in this space, but Kevin Conroy doesn't wear the bat suit.
Oh my god! Can you imagine Conroy wearing the bat suit?
He did appear in the show, and I didn't find him that good.
He did during this past crossover, but he never technically donned the cowl.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it doesn't always translate, because once, like, the crossover, I heard like CW what they were doing. It's like, oh, this is amazing. But when I actually seen it, a lot of the actors that it just doesn't cross over.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, like I would never want to see Mark Hamill in a Batman movie actually as Joker in an actual live action movie. Like, again, I feel like it would just take away from that moment. At the entire time I'd be like, it's Hamill. And I would constantly thinking, I love the animated show, but this movie might be crap. And I don't want to have that thing. I want that movie to be like a standalone situation and really absorb it for what it's meant to be. But if you
doesn't have
it to in the animated series or those adaptations, you're not going to get a really great viewing experience.
He doesn't have the look for Joker, though, either, honestly. I mean, the animation is one thing because he could do the voice dub over.
Yeah.
But I cannot picture Hamill as Joker. I just, in my mind's eye, I can't do it.
Have you seen the behind the scenes of him doing the voice?
No.
Because he becomes, when he does the laughing thing, his face changes, and because he's an actor, right?
He's creepy AF.
Yeah, so you put him in the character with makeup, he might not look physically in interviews and everything, but when he's in character and he embodies it, I go contrary to what you said, Hotel.
Yeah, not to mention if you're going to be doing a Joker like Hamill, he's an old established Joker. Essentially, he's kicked Batman's ass a handful of times. He's been to prison. He's almost died a bazillion times. So it's I don't feel like we would ever see old man Joker the way we talk about old man Batman. Like, I don't think that's a conversation that we would have, honestly. Personally, though. I could be wrong,
I like I sent you the question last time. my money, if we're doing a Joker, is Rami Malek. Is that his name? The guy from Mr. Robot.
Rami Malek.
Rami Malek. There you go. My money's on him. He has the face. He has the darkness. He can go slightly mad, and really play and do something completely different than what we've seen.
What do you think of him being as a Bond villain? Being he is the villain for the new Bond film.
Perfect.
I can't wait for that. I'm really super excited for Daniel Craig's last hurrah as Bond, and good for him for holding out to make that $50 million. That's a boss ass move right there. But I don't want to see Rami Malek as him, to be honest. I've seen Rami Malek in these kind of interesting character roles before, and I think that's fine. But I don't want to see him pulled into like these character roles where he can only be the weird guy. He can't be a Joe Schmo, And if he takes on more roles like that, I feel like that'd be where he would be placed for a very long time. But I really want to see more no-name actors really get the spotlight and get weird with them. With some of these Batman roles, I want it really funky, essentially, and if you're going to get weird, might as well be a Batman movie. And let's be honest, a lot of times, like Anne Hathaway, she was cool as Catwoman, but she was not allowed to get weird. It's Anne Hathaway.
Well, especially the new Nolan verse, right? There's
exactly.
so much weird you can get. But
Matt Reeves he wants to get weird.
But I heard he wants to get serious.
He is going to get serious, but he's also...
Well, you need to be serious and weird at the same time.
Colin Farrell is in it. He's as the Penguin. You also have Paul Dano.
That in itself is a weird casting. You
have Paul Dano as the Riddler. Yo.
No, I don't like that. Really? Oh, yeah.
Okay. What?
You want to go? You want to go?
Fight this one out.
Okay.
Don't start.
Boy. Okay, let me just pull him up. He is the most Riddler-looking dude ever.
The looks, I get it, Alex. The looks, I get it. It's again, an actor. He can change his personality, but something so too down. I don't know. It just, for me, his personality doesn't. I don't see his voice into the character.
Kidding me?
No, I'm not.
Look at him. I am gonna pull him up. And if you can find him, because I have him, because I can't pull him up, because I have his screen up here, but I can't but he's perfect. Physically speaking, he's fantastic. And he's such a really awesome established actor. He's weird. He's funny. He's dramatic. He's creepy AF. He is perfect for the Riddler.
I'm still not sold. I'm still not sold.
No,
but
I'm not sold on your face. Okay. Get out of here.
We'll have a conversation after the movie. I watch the movie. We'll see if I change. I still don't picture it. And hey, we got our opinions, but I'm right.
I don't know. Are you? Okay. You also think we could do another Joker movie, so
whatever.
But I really also, if we were going to dive into some of the acting chops of some of these actors that are being cast in this movie, like I mentioned, they're trying to go with a very young Batman with Matt Reeves' Batman. He's young, he's learning, he's getting his first real villain interactions, which I love. He's making a lot of errors. He's figuring his shit out. So I'm really excited for kind of him figure that out. So he's not the established Batman that we know him today. He's solving those puzzles. He's able to predict a lot of these situations. He's going into this with his Batman being like, this is a baby Batman that's going to make a whole lot of mistakes, and that's going to be reflected in his interactions with these villains. And so a lot of these villains are going to be around the same age as him. They're just starting to get into the whole villainous super situation. And so, but if you're going to be diving into Joker is a very serious villain. And I don't feel like that character, this baby Batman, is ready for the Joker. Now, when we're just learning to who this Batman is anyway. You know?
Well, and that still supports what I want to be overarching over 3 movies and put him at the end, because he's not ready at the first movie, but he's gonna have to be ready at the last movie to go against. Okay,
yeah, sure. But I mean, it would be like over like 10 years, and we've had so many Jokers. We're already getting another Joker movie. Joaquin Phoenix has already confirmed he wants to do another one.
But is that official? Because I heard
he says he wants to do another one, and Joaquin Phoenix is really flirty. He's like, yeah, I would totally do it, but it just depends on my schedule. Like, how many Jokers do we flippin' need? We have one Riddler on screen. How many penguins?
Jim Carrey.
Two penguins on screen.
Yeah. No, technically, if you count Gotham, there was 2 Riddlers, which I find was the better Riddler on Gotham.
I was referring to movies exclusively.
Okay. Sorry.
How dare you? Get yourself together. I'm professional.
I'll try my best.
On the table.
Oh.
I'm looking at the cast now for Matt Reeves' Batman, because I really haven't looked at it yet. I'm liking this a lot.
Yeah.
I'm liking this casting.
Have you seen Robert Pattinson and some of his other indie works like The Lighthouse or Cosmopolis before?
Remember Me.
The Lighthouse.
Remember Me? Sure.
Yeah.
That's from a while ago. Yeah. The Lighthouse was effed up. That movie's weird.
I don't know where to find it. I tried to stream my stuff. I can't find it. It's not available anywhere in Canada right now.
Oh, Andy Serkis is Alfred. Absolutely. God, yes.
Say what?
Andy Serkis is Alfred Pennyworth. Can you get more perfect than that?
Oh my God.
Because as James Gordon.
John Turturro is Oh, that's nice. I did not know John Turturro was doing Carmine.
Jeffrey Wright is James Gordon. That's interesting.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I love him. Okay, I love that casting. Yes.
Peter Sarsgaard. He's the one that played it, wasn't it?
Oh, I forgot Turturro's in it. I love John Turturro.
No, Peter is the one who played Garden State.
But isn't he the one that played it?
No, that's his brother, no?
No, yeah, those are their brothers. Peter Skarsgård.
Yeah, he was in Garden State with Zach Braff and the girl from Star Wars. Yeah, Natalie Portman.
The girl from Star Wars.
That was Star Wars.
I will forever. I feel bad. I will forever think of her as like the girl from Leon or The Professional, and then later on, V for Vendetta. But also,
Marcus is going to be in this.
Uncredited. So it's probably going to be like an after credit scene.
Yeah, that's his. There's a lot of funeral VIPs here.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't sound good.
I think it is. There might be a funeral. Oh, obviously there's gonna be a funeral, but I feel like there's probably going to be some kind of funeral, especially for Falcone.
You think Falcone bites it in this one?
I think he might be. I think he might die because him dying is a big. It's like sometimes in the comics. That's like him dying really kind of triggers the events of Gotham. And I know that's something that went also in the TV show as well. It was Falcone dying that triggers everyone to be like, well, who's going to take over the city? Is it going to be the Freeze? Is it going to be the Riddler? Is it going to be this or Alfred? So
they're doing a No Man's Land, or they did a No Man's Land, because I'm a bit like late on Gotham. Type of storyline, right? Okay.
Yeah, they also are doing it right now on the Harley Quinn show,
which I haven't seen it yet.
I need to watch that.
Yeah,
I so badly want to, but I just haven't got to it yet.
Yeah, it's that good. You just have no more words.
I'm not kidding. It is probably my favorite show on television right now.
Binge worthy?
Yes. 100%. I binge watched like 6 hours worth when I first saw it. I went in being like, okay, maybe I'll watch 1 or 2 episodes and see how I like it. Because I went in being like with these stupid high expectations. Because one of my best friends is she is a nut for all things Harley Quinn. She's obsessed. Her bedroom is decked out in Harley Quinn shit. And so she's like, okay, this is really great. This is amazing. As a Harley Quinn fanatic, I had really high expectations and I already went into it. And I'm not a Harley Quinn fanatic, but I am just like, I'm not super into anime like I used to. I don't like watching TV shows all that much. I actually avoid watching TV shows because I'm heavily training my competitors and I try to watch new movies all the time, a bunch of this stuff. And so going into it, I'm going to be like, this is going to be a waste of fucking time. I don't want to watch it. I've been told it's political. I've been told it's overly meta, blah, blah, blah. But it is so good. So fucking good. My expectations are crazy high, but what I got was even fucking higher.
I mean, is it good because it's good production, or the story is worth it?
Fantastic. The story is fantastic. The voice acting is hilarious. There's a lot of voice actors where you're like, that sounds familiar, but they don't overpower the character. The animation is really good. It's really funny, and everything character-wise is very on point, and it holds up.
All right, you sold me. I was already wanting to watch it. I think I know what to watch this week. Thank you, Alex.
I'm sorry, Alex rant. I apologize.
No, it's fine. I'm enjoying every bit of it. I'm learning stuff as you guys are ranting on. So, like, I didn't realize that Falcone or Falcone, however you pronounce it, I didn't realize that he actually bites it. Then again, like I said before, I'm not big into DC, so.
Well, depending on the storyline, like I mentioned, because like there's some of them where his death triggers it, but there's some where they trigger essentially no man's land, where Gotham becomes isolated. Where, but that's like one approach. Or you can actually, he is a really great mafia villain, like much more traditional, dark, gritty mafia villain. So you can go in that direction as well. Either way, he's a great character to use. So, not to mention it's John Turturro. He's wonderful. So.
All right. One last thing that I wanted to cover, because this was announced this week, and this is pretty big news, considering the fact that Comic-Con got canceled outright because of the pandemic. But they announced that they're going to do a Comic-Con at home, and it's going to be free to everybody. From what I'm understanding, it's free to everyone to watch.
Oh, wow.
They're going to do panels like they normally would, except it's going to be basically like the way that PlayStation 5 reveal was, where everything's pre-recorded. So it'll be interesting to see how they do it. I'm glad that they're giving us something.
Here's the thing, though, because yes, it's cool, but like, are they gonna put it on the Comic-Con website, or are they gonna affiliate themselves with Netflix or streaming service? Because the people like have TVs and they can't necessarily
don't think they've actually announced how they're doing it yet. They just announced that they're going to be doing it. I think they're still working on logistics.
That's pretty curious. I wonder who some of the panelists are going to be and which ones.
Well, I know DC isn't there. DC announced even before they announced that they were canceling Comic-Con that they weren't going to be there. So you take DC off the table. Unless they decide to make a surprise appearance considering everything that's going on.
Yeah, they might need the push.
So
I'm just really hoping we get some I don't need pictures of like set pictures, but just going back to the Batman story, I would love to see some inspiration behind like which, because obviously with Joker, there's 1,000,001 different adaptations of Joker in the comics, and Arkham and everything. I would love to see these versions, like which versions of like Riddler and everything they're going to incorporate.
Yeah,
I just want like maybe a picture of them in costume or something. I don't know.
One thing I could definitely see coming out is we get in our Black Widow trailer. just because.
Why?
I could just see Marvel doing it just to keep the buzz.
But why would you want to have buzz right now? If you use the buzz right now, you're wasting buzz for when it comes out later.
Because I see them making at the end of it, I see them making a surprise announcement that they're going to drop it, not on Disney Plus, but they're going to release it in theaters once the theaters open back up at the end of the year around Christmas time.
See, that confuses me.
Honestly, that's just me though.
I thought it was a streaming movie. They're putting it in theaters or not? Because I'm getting confused.
They are waiting to put it in theaters. They held off until like next year. They're like, this movie in particular, they are banking on. Mm-hmm. They need it to succeed.
I think they already knew that Artemis Fowl was going to be a crap fest. So it's like, okay, just get that out of there. We'll just throw that on streaming.
I don't think so. I don't think they knew that at the time. They ended up reshooting it a little bit, like I mentioned earlier, to Disneyfy it. But it was also not a Disney property. It was bought by Disney.
Oh, was that one of Fox?
It was not. Yeah, it was bought by Disney, and they were Disney. They were like, what they just acquired it, like what they did with New Mutants, and they're like, well, we don't want to put additional money into marketing or whatever for it, so let's just put it out on streaming because we don't need to waste more money for it.
And that's what I'm afraid that Disney Plus is going to become. I hope it doesn't become the dumping ground. And sometimes we have certain things that was in cinema, and new original content is the things that wasn't good enough for cinema. I really hope you be careful of that.
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. I don't think it is. They're just acquiring so much stuff, honestly. And I just want New Mutants to pop on Hulu so bad. It's just annoying. That movie should not come out in theaters. Like,
well, maybe that's one of the announcements that Marvel makes at their panel is saying, yeah, by the way, we know New Mutants keeps getting pushed, and it's basically a cursed film, so we're just going to drop it on stream.
And also, none of the actors want to be affiliated with it anymore. So
yeah,
I mean, there was talks
5 years in the making.
Yeah, well, there were talks for like a minute, like once they were acquired by Disney, that they wanted to like do reshoots, but they Maisie Williams, who did it when she was like 20 years old, is like 24 years old now, and she looks completely different because she looks so young. She was still doing Game of Thrones at the time.
Wow.
So just to put in perspective.
Yeah.
And she's just like, yeah, I have no clue when that movie is coming out. Like everyone involved is actively against promoting it. No one wants to talk about it. They actively avoid questions regarding it. And it's like actively a joke. Even the director is like, fuck that movie.
And it could be a Cabin in the Woods situation. It got so pushed back, but it was so loved and it still was a really good movie. So
yeah, but that movie didn't make money.
True.
That movie didn't make even $100 million.
It didn't. Cabin in the Woods didn't get a following until after it came out.
Yeah.
And on home media.
So, yeah, it would
have the cult following behind it.
It would have had immense success if it came out on Netflix. It would have been like the Bird Box. It would have been that big. It would have taken over the world for like 10 minutes. But it didn't.
Movies is a fickle thing to predict, right? You inject so much money into it, so
especially right now, considering because we're in an unprecedented situation across the board. So
yeah, they got to do what they got to do. Everyone's got to make money somehow.
Yeah, well, especially them. If we want us to continue having good stuff coming from them, it takes a lot of money to produce really big popcorn movies. So
cheaply nowadays.
Larry just put up. What's that?
I mean, like if you're going to be putting, it's a lot of companies are debating. A lot of companies are debating whether or not it's worth the investment to put money into put movies in theaters, just because it is expensive to put money in theaters. Because if you're doing that as a contract, you're doing it for so much time. You're paying the theater money for the ability to essentially like rent out that individual theater for so much time during the day. So it is very risky. Not only that, the marketing is it can be really expensive and it's really risky. And now more than ever, I mean, you're hearing statistics about 70 or 80% of the public is not comfortable in going to the movie theater. They would rather watch movies at home. Trolls World Tour made over $200 million in its like first month. More, which is significantly more. It's like triple what it made in 5 months in a theater.
Wow.
When it was released on VOD. So
it is a sound strategy if you don't think it's going to do well in theaters. But yeah, like the studios might aim more for streaming if it gives a better life to movies and you can reach out to a lot more people because you don't have to go out, and you don't have to pay cheaper, and you have your own food. You're not forced to get like $10 for $15 popcorn.
Especially if you have a family, if you have kids. I mean, if you have a family with like several kids, that's like $50 in tickets, sometimes more, and that doesn't include parking or popcorn and drinks or anything. And so if you have to pay just $20 for a weekend rental of a big movie, that is easy decision. Easy.
Definitely that, and there's no one kicking your back of the seat and talking on a cell phone, which is even an added bonus.
It's rough. It's so rough. That's a whole conversation right there.
Well, we're pushing the 3-hour mark, so Louis, I know you got to go on here pretty directly. It's going on 12:30 my time.
Same here.
I didn't realize what time it was, honestly.
And we're taping
timer and
we're taping at 10 o'clock this morning technically. So yes, I do have to go soon.
Yeah. So not to cut everybody off. I mean, I could just sit here and we could have this conversation forever. But Alex, I really appreciate you being on. Sorry that John couldn't be on with us. I mean, kind of a bummer. But Louis, thank you definitely for jumping in literally at the last second.
It's my pleasure.
That was great on your part. And Jay, if you're still in the room, thank you for making the suggestion. I greatly appreciate it, considering the pinch that I was in. So I guess we do plugs now.
Yeah.
Bear with me, I'm a little tired. But Alex, I'll let you have first crack, and then we'll just go around the table then.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Alex Mack, part of the Call to Action crew. You can find me over at Call to Action Podcast, where I host several shows over there. I do a lot of reactions for various, different Schmodown related matches, as well as Schmobase is a Schmodown's debate show where we argue and debate to the death, to the blood of, the biggest questions surrounding Schmodown in general, all the way from what is the best, belt match in Schmodown history, down to what is the best heel move in Schmodown, to all that good stuff. It's really fun. I have a lot of really cool competitors going on, debating right now in the middle of a Schmo-Bates tournament. Here next week, I have Ben Bateman from Finstock Exchange. That's going to be going up against James White. So it's going to be really great. It's going to be on Wednesday at 9:30 Central. But you can also find me on Twitter right there. And give me a follow. That'd be pretty cool. I'll probably follow you back because I know who you are.
All right, and I'm part of the Schmoes of the North Entertainment Network. We have a couple shows, Schmodown Night in Canada, which we give our reactions to the shows. We have also Norton Consultations, where we have a one-on-one with the greatest personalities of Schmodown. We also have audio podcasts. If you want to follow me or contact me, the best place is on Twitter on Norton Schmoes. Norton Schmoes, yeah, there you go. So that being said, on my end, it's getting late, so adieu.
All right, and as always, you can find me on Twitter and any social media accounts just by looking up Hotel Nerd. My handle for Twitter is right here in name tag at hotel_nerd86. Find me on Facebook, and like I said, any other social media platform, just look up Hotel Nerd and you'll find me. Patreon, you can find me there also by looking up Hotel Nerd. By all means, join. Tonight, unfortunately, the PayPal and Streamlabs didn't want to cooperate with me. So if you did send anything in, I will definitely be looking them up, and I will be making a separate video if you send any questions in for Louis or Alex, I will definitely be sending them to them so they can answer any questions for you as well. Because if you're donating money, I definitely want you to get your money's worth and get the answers from the people that you're asking the questions to. But with that said, again, Alex, Louis, thank you very much. It was a great talk. Definitely the longest video that we've done so far.
Very typical, if I'm in it. I'm not going to lie.
So I would love to get Roka on at some point. I'm sure that we could even go further with getting you and Roka on at the same time there, Alex.
I'm not going to lie. He does not like going very long.
I kind of figured he doesn't like going on much of other people's stuff anyhow.
You'd be surprised.
Well, he does.
He does.
He absolutely does. Sometimes it's just he dedicates the evenings, unless it's like for something, one of his shows or something, he likes to dedicate. That's like his time away from the 1,000,001 shows that he does. So that's like.
But no, he's been on our show once too. You know, he's very supportive of the fan stuff. Just he's like I said, 1,000,001 shows, right? So
There's a lot of shows he does. Yeah.
All right, it's been a pleasure being on your show Hotel. It's been a pleasure meeting you, Alex. I hope we are able to do this again one day. So thank you very much.
Yep, thank you very much, and both of you have a very good night.
You too. Thanks, guys.
Yep.